Wait, is Nick sitting in one of our chairs? The fire marshal will not be visiting us this evening. Oh, shucks! Awkward.
Now we can fill it up to as long as it's going to be safe. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's City Council meeting for the City of Newark to the October the 23rd. I'm asking Rosario, the president of the Newark High School Puente, to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. And otherwise, would we all stand?
Repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's with a little sadness that I advise you that we are going to be closing tonight's council meeting in memory of our colleague, former colleague, Vice Mayor Susie Collazo. Her mother passed away on August the 24th. I'm sorry, she was born on August 24th, but she passed away recently, so I want to make sure we close this council meeting in memory of Ercilia Villarreal, who was born August 24th, 1934, lived on a ranch where she learned to cook as she had to feed the ranch hands that were 75 to 150 on any given day. She married her love, Rogelio Collazo, in February of 1955. They came to the United States in search of the American dream. And boy, did they achieve the American dream. For those of you, and I'm not going to ask for a show of hands because I'll just see everybody's hands raised. For those of you that have not visited the Mexican Tortilla Factory, they've been in business in our city for 53 years, going on 54. In fact, if you talk to the vice mayor, she will tell you that she was the cheapest labor that her family could find when she was standing on a milk box back in the day helping customers at that time. They came to the United States in search of that American dream. She had 3 beautiful daughters. Her girls could not have asked for a better mother. She worked hard alongside her husband and was doing well, but had a longing to build more. It was in the 70s when she and her husband decided to open the Mexican Tortilla Factory, her American dream, selling Mexican food. So I'd like to invite former Vice Mayor Collazo to the podium if she'd like to say a few words about her mom. Please welcome former Vice Mayor Collazo.
Good evening, council members, Honorable Mayor Hannon, staff members, great city of Newark. I want to thank all of you for this great honor that you've given my mother. My mother, Ercilia, was a very soft-spoken woman. She knew how to get what she wanted. She was a hard worker, never gave up, whether it was field working when she was picking crops in the hot sun or going out to the tortilla factory at 4 o'clock in the morning to get things ready to open up. She was the glue that was holding our family together in hard times. I don't think I could tell you she was the best mom. I believe we all think our mom is the best mom. But Mom taught us responsibility, respect, caring, honesty, courage, integrity, values, justice, work ethics, to be open-minded, to listen to to listen and understand, to express ourselves, and to help other people. I know my dad is rejoicing to have his beautiful bride with him again. I know there are angels watching over us from heaven, as angels will always do. She will forever be in our hearts. Te amo, madre querida. That's all I can say is I love you, my mother. And thank you for giving her this great honor.
It's our pleasure, and she's well deserving of it. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Colleagues, please join me in our seats. Please join me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so honored to introduce our state senator, Dr. Aisha Wahab. Let me give you a little bit about her. Dr. Aisha Wahab was elected in 2022 representing the cities of Hayward, Union City, Newark, really more importantly Newark, as I understand it, Fremont, Milpitas, Sunnyvale, San Jose, and Santa Clara. You can see the wide area that she represents. And for her to come to the city of Newark and present kind of a legislative update, it's a real honor to have her tonight. Senator Wahab is a community leader who continues to work as an advocate and organizer for seniors, women, and children. She's dedicated to addressing issues including housing, affordability, which we support here in the city of Newark, civic engagement, education, and economic inequality. Please welcome our state senator, Dr. Aisha Wahab.
See that? Sorry, I don't want to bother you. Do you remember? No, right there's fine. And then I can stretch out. Thank you. Yeah. All right, guys. I first would just want to thank all of you guys for being here. Just being at a city council meeting is actually very important. So a lot of people don't do it. So thank you guys for being here. We do this every single year because we want to make sure that, one, we are explaining what we did for the full year to you all as our constituents, because we are trying to make your lives better. But we also want to be able to answer any questions. We have our team here. You have my chief and staff here with us as well. And our office is pretty much right next door. It is in Fremont, which is roughly the center point of really where we're at. And I just kind of wanted to go over some of the things that we have done. And they always change up the PowerPoint a little bit, so I just wanted to flag this. So we genuinely try to do a lot of different community events and making sure that people are able to reach out to us, that we meet them where they're at, that it's not that they have to come to us and talk to us. But we are in the community and trying to understand exactly what is going on. So there are some photos. We had a really good time a couple nights ago with the city of Newark, and I really want to congratulate everybody there. And just also, I want to thank the mayor personally, because the mayor here has actually been very, very deeply involved in the community. And when I say that, I'm talking about him and I have gone and done Meals on Wheels, delivering food to our senior population that are not as mobile. He has personally called to ask, hey, I have this project. I'd love to see this done. And I'm going to share the dynamics of our cities and then what happens in the state. Now, I was actually a Newark resident for 10 years. And yes. I lived very close to the Morden Salt Factory, if you guys are familiar with it. It's actually really cool because you just see salt in the open air. But, I know Newark, and Newark has changed significantly, right? And it's growing, and you guys have a great city council that is actively working daily. And I want to say that about each of them because they have hosted events, they have cared about the community, whether they're little kids or our senior population. And that is why they are the leaders of this city. So I'll begin with the topic that everyone loves to talk about, housing, housing, housing. Housing is a very important issue for almost every single person, right? When we are talking about housing, it doesn't matter, who you talk to. Housing is the one stabilizer in a household, right? Whether you are out sick, whether you just want to relax, whether you want to have a safe home, housing's important. And this year we had a very difficult budget year. And as you guys know, it's getting even more and more difficult with the uncertainty, not only at an international level and the things that happen there that affect us here, but then also at a national level. And our district doesn't necessarily have a very large city. And the state typically tends to focus on, and you guys see it in the news, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, LA, right? And they forget, there's a lot of other cities out there, guys. And so my job, in my opinion, is to advocate as best as possible for this district that I grew up in. And oftentimes that means like, hey, I need more funding. The people in my community like this. They need this. And so I'm very proud to say that through that effort, I pitched an affordability package to our leadership that really largely got absorbed into the budget. And I'll show you how. We put in $300 million available to California residents who are first-time home buyers. That program in itself allows for a person to be given the down payment, purchase their very first home in their county, wherever they live, and the state will eventually recoup that money back and give it to the next person that needs to purchase a home. Because we all know in the Bay Area, even if you make $100,000, in some counties, you are still considered low income. How is that possible? I don't know. But we want to make sure that we are taking care of everybody. We also made sure that we are helping developers actually develop housing. So if you guys talk about affordable housing, the low income housing tax credit is an incentive for developers to really develop affordable housing in communities. Already affordable, clean up a project. I'm sure you guys on council have heard about the LIHTC funding as much as possible. And we also ensured that, that the cities and most of our mayors will come and ask for the HAP funding, which is the Homeless Housing Assistance and Prevention funding. Now, at the beginning of the year, the governor put $0 into it, right? Because we needed to shuffle money elsewhere. We fought tooth and nail to put $500 million back. And it allows cities like Newark and all of our other cities to be able to provide a little bit more support services, clean up, navigation centers, you name it, to our homeless population. Why does that matter? Our fastest demographic in the homeless population is our seniors. Those are our grandparents, our parents, our loved ones, and they have worked their entire lives. But their fixed income does not meet the rents here, let alone the mortgage, let alone the cost of living. So we work really hard to make sure that people get a shot. Now, this bill I'm actually incredibly proud of. SB 681 was part of that affordability effort. The goal that I had in mind was to be able to provide every single type of individual something that will help them. So whether we're talking about renters, whether we're talking about first-time home buyers and the ones that live in the HOA condos and townhomes, the individuals that are building the homes, the individuals that are in governance and much more. And I want to highlight a couple of these things because this bill is not like many others. It's over 60 pages long. So people don't typically do that. And I did it, and the governor signed it, and it's officially law. And I want to give you guys the example of zombie mortgages. So you guys all remember the Great Recession. My family lost their home during the Great Recession, and 15 years later, I'm still a renter. All right, I could check the box on everything, get an education, get a decent job, even be an elected official. I cannot afford a home in my own district, all right? And this is considered a relatively affluent district compared to the other parts of California. California has 58 counties. Those counties, some of the counties, and I just want to be very frank with this, they have a stop sign and not even a stoplight. The communities that we govern across the state, I had a colleague, a Republican colleague, invited me to his district and gave me a tour of his district, which I find fascinating every time I can go to somebody else's district. The city of Norco, you guys may hear about it because the city of Norco is a city that's 25,000 individuals living there. Very small city. And their entire economy is based on equestrian work, meaning horses, and the prison system. So the state prison, Norco prison, is there. That prison is expected to close, right? And I want to flag that when he took me around, I felt like I was in a different world because they don't have sidewalks necessarily. They have gravel and dirt because they ride horses, literally to get their groceries. And they have this wooden beam that they tie the horse. I have never in my life seen that in real life. It was just Western movies, okay? And that's the difference between all of our cities. It's different environments. And so I flagged that as just an example of why the zombie mortgage protections was important. When people declared bankruptcy and foreclosure, they thought they got rid of that debt. 15 years later, right? That they are hit by banks with 15 years of fines, 15 years of penalties, and the original debt that they thought they got rid of. How is this possible, right? And so we actually heard from our own district about this issue. So I want to flag why hearing from the community is so important, because just a simple phone call and you're like, that's a real thing? And we created this law. It got absorbed. It's official law. It is the strongest in the nation protections for zombie mortgages. The fact of the matter is that there are people that don't want to inform an individual and be able to charge you all the fines. And as an average person, you have to either lawyer up and spend so much money there, pay your debt, or figure out what you're going to do. And it's not fair. The limits on HOA fines. We have people that live in HOA buildings. There was a woman, and I want to say the zombie mortgages has been covered by NPR, by Bloomberg. It is literally talked about throughout the nation, and we have the strongest laws now. The limit on HOA fines also was talked about in the LA Times. There was a young woman, she did something with a door in her own unit, not outside, inside. And somebody peered in and made a complaint, and she was hit with fines. She had to pay $3,500 a week. A week. And it's completely legal, right? How? So we made sure that if a fine and a fault has nothing to do with emergency or health or safety, that the fine is capped at $100 and the individual has enough time to fix the issue, right? Maybe she can't do it this weekend, she'll do it next weekend, right? She thanked us for that particular law. We have a number of others, but I'm gonna talk about the renters. We increased the renter's tax credit, quadrupled it, in fact, for the first time in decades. So if you're a renter, you will get some money back this year, right? That has not happened in decades. We have prioritized also when schools are selling off their land, right, that it be for affordable housing first and foremost. And that focus should be for student housing, workforce housing, or their community. That's the tiered step. So we've done a lot, including also providing more for developers and much more to make housing and affordable housing the priority. We provided protections across the board and even worked with the state to increase affordable housing and figure out what more can we do in different regions, So I'm very proud of that bill. And this is our legislative package this past year. We've focused on a lot of different bills, but I also want to flag some of the bills that are passed and largely supported by our district, that it's a shame that we even had to carry a bill in this space. We removed the spousal rape exemption for disabled spouses. So in California law, if your spouse was disabled and they were raped, it was legal. This is from the decades and decades of time that women didn't have that many rights. The fact that it was on the books was shocking to us. And so that was passed and signed by the governor. In fact, all of these were passed except for one, which we tried to ensure that if a woman finds out she is pregnant, that she can either get health insurance for the first time or improve her health insurance, right? Maybe she needs more maternity care and much more. That one was vetoed. And it's just because of the cost this year. And so I want to highlight that we've also worked with our law enforcement partners, and we have capped insulin to $35 a month, right? So there's a lot that we have touched on, and we will continue to do so. Previous legislation is here. You know, we've worked on issues that affect our seniors, public safety, women, children, housing, and social services. The reason why social services is incredibly important to me, and some of you guys know this, I grew up in the foster care system. And so there's a lot of harm in the systems. Children, no fault of their own. Society failed them, their families failed them. They're in the system. And so we need to do more. For Newark, fun stuff, okay? So we actually really love Newark, and I just want to say that. We work so hard with Newark residents, from the promotores to, you know, just the everyday person to our city council here. And we always try to make sure that we know what they need. And the reality is this: not only do we do a number of events here and so forth, but we are also able to kind of support the city through different investments. And I will say that it's very difficult when you are competing with elected officials from these big cities that get all the attention. They typically get a lot of the money too, right? And so we fight tooth and nail to make sure that our cities get a significant amount of money. But it only happens because I was able to call our mayor and say, Mayor, I am able to bring in money back to the district. I would like to know what project you want to work on. And he brought up Thornton. And I will say Thornton is a never-ending issue because infrastructure takes a long time, right? And I used to go on Thornton every single day, right? And of course I want to help it. But I asked him, how much does it cost? How much did you say?
Several million.
Yes, okay. So I was like, well, I don't have several $1,000,000 to give. I have something smaller. So I would like the project to be completed with this amount of money, so the community gets what they want faster. And so we put in $1 million for improvements for the Ash Street Park facilities. So kids can play and everyone can be happy. We also try to prioritize the Newark Resource Center. But I also want to highlight the fact that with the mayor, he has literally just called me and said, hey, I have this really cool project coming up. We are having some concerns about like the technical reasoning with housing and much more. Can you help us? And immediately, within a week, we got the right people in a meeting with him and his team and the city. And so I really just want to highlight that those relationships matter, because we need to hear from you guys. So how can we help? We are here to serve you. Throughout the last 2.5 years, almost 3 years now, we have brought in millions upon millions of dollars in this district, more so than some of my colleagues. And the reason is because we advocate so fiercely for this district. Every single city, we try to bring in money directly to them. And the focus that I try to focus on is infrastructure, which is very hard, and housing, social services, and much more. So if you guys take a look, We've done different projects on mental health, on youth facilities, on hospitals, on fire stations, on housing navigation projects, even in the city of Milpitas, right? To bring an innovation campus, $1.5 million, and for their SMART program, $1.6 million, right? And these are smaller cities. We brought in more and more money for the School of the Deaf. The School of the Deaf is a special state school in California, only in Fremont and Riverside. The teachers, faculty, and students are either deaf or blind, because of the School of the Deaf and the School of the Blind. And they set up a meeting with me and highlighted the fact that they are paid less than the faculty in Fremont. I said, how is that possible? It is because they are governed by the state. It's a special school, right? Because there's only 2 in the state. Some of them were on the brink of homelessness. Some of them are willing to move out of the state, but nobody provides enough social services in any part of the country like California does. And we were not only able to bring them money directly, but we also met with our superintendent and CalHR multiple times to say, they are the most vulnerable community members. I don't know who else would be, right? They are literally the School of the Deaf and the School of the Blind. And they are reviewing their contracts. They've already put in a side letter, you guys know what that is, to give more money to this and to make sure, and I will say it was a bipartisan effort. My colleague that invited me to his district, Republican, he said that I also share that school and I think that they deserve more. So that advocacy really, really does help. Now statewide, okay, I'm gonna ask you guys this because I know in this room we're gonna have some. How many of you guys are soccer fans? Thank you, because the last meeting I had, nobody was a soccer fan, okay? So I meet with the Bay Area Host Committee every other week. At this point, it's almost daily, more than anybody else for the last 2 years. So the Bay Area Host Committee is really cool because what they're trying to do is bring the World Cup to our district in Santa Clara, the city of Santa Clara, for the first time in this nation in over 30 years. So it's bigger than any Super Bowl, bigger than any Beyonce or Taylor Swift concert, okay? And it requires a lot of security because we have fans coming from all over the world, right? And it's kind of cool because it's a little bit different. It is not a one-night thing like the Super Bowl. It is roughly about 2.5 weeks. And so the way it's gonna work is that, I'll give you guys an example calendar. Monday, they will be having a game in my district. Tuesday, they will go to LA and have a game. Wednesday will be a break period where they rest and recoup and do whatever. Thursday, they will be back in the Bay. Friday, back in LA. Saturday, break period, and continuous for about 2.5 weeks. Now, what does this mean? And the reason why I support this, even though I'm actually not the biggest soccer fan, is because it generates so much revenue to our state and our district. Now, you guys are gonna ask how, right? So, when they are in our restaurants and spending their money, when they are buying drinks and clothes and shopping, and they are in our hotels, and I know the cities love that, right? So the hotel tax is a little higher than anything else, just FYI guys, right? And so that generates significant amount of revenue for the cities, where I'm sure the mayor and the council are gonna make sure that they fix any potholes and take care of you guys in a different way. And it also allows them to potentially also invest in other projects that the community wants. So it is a big deal. It is an absolutely big deal. And what we are seeing also about this is that with the World Cup and everything that's happening, the agreement so far is that the big fan events is going to be in San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, right? Even though the games aren't necessarily there, but they're also, the rest of the Bay Area wants that money. They're saying, come on, drink at our restaurants and bars and have fun, right? And the days, you would be surprised, because even Napa, that does not have a formal agreement, wants people to come to Napa and say, hey, maybe your team lost, maybe the day off, maybe you guys don't want to go to LA. Come to the wineries. Take a look at California wines. So this is a big deal. It will bring in literally millions, if not billions of dollars to our economy. And I will say why it's important to LA. LA has had the worst wildfires in history. And I have actually gone there multiple times. And the homes, there's nothing. There is nothing. You can't even say there's ash. It's almost like literally nothing. The foundation is gone. I've never seen something like that. To the point that you see a silver line in the ground and you're like, what is that? It is the metal that has burned from the vehicles. To melt metal like that, to make it a river of metal, 2,500 degrees. Families have suffered there significantly. And we have seen the ice raids that have plagued LA. We have also been dealing with the potential of ice raids in the Bay Area. This morning, we had a press conference and we've had conversations with the governor's office and much more. And we have been told that the raids are on pause and supposedly not going to happen, but we also can't trust this leadership right now, especially because we learned about it via a tweet. Not great communication, right? And so I want to highlight that because I know our community is struggling, and it's not just our community, it's LA, it's throughout the state of California. And we are working night and day. Literally, I was in the office till 4 a.m, making sure that we have resources available, that we have it translated in multiple languages, that we can make sure that we can at least talk to people. And I will point blank tell you guys, we had a conversation with the governor's office yesterday, and I told them, and they acknowledged it. I said, we are not LA. We are far more diverse. We have different languages. It's not just 3 or 4 languages. We have hundreds of languages in this district. We have every immigration status that you can think of. My district. We have the H-1B visas that have been talked about a lot in news. EB-2, EB-5. The undocumented, the asylum seekers, the special immigrant visas, you name it. People in their families have someone that they care about that has a different status than an American-born citizen, right? And so we want to make sure not only are those individuals taken care of, but that their families feel more confident if worse comes to worse. And so we have spent a lot of time, and I want to say that our office, even though immigration is not our jurisdiction, we have consistently made sure that immigration is involved in our office, and we bring in lawyers for pro bono service, and people were surprised our immigration fair and much more. We've had town halls. We've had 3-hour Zoom town halls to provide direct services to people who were scared. Hundreds of people were on that Zoom. We had town halls that provided pro bono services to people of all immigrants. We had Ukrainians come here, worried about the war and what they're going to do here. People who are worried because they've been laid off and their entire visa relies on a job. These are the fears of our community. So I highlight that because it's a fear of mine that something bad happens. And that's why we work so hard. What we have also done is we put in $10 million for the Children's Holistic Immigration Representation Project. What is that, right? So when somebody who is undocumented has to go in front of the judge because they've been detained, they even do that to children. Children who could be 5 years old, 10 years old, 3 years old. And this money is to ensure that each of those children who do not have a parent with them has a lawyer and a social worker that can help them make the best decision legally. And the reason for that is at 10 years old, at 5 years old, at 4 years old, if you don't even know the language, How do you know your rights? What do you even know what's going on? We all are around kids, we know that. And so we are doing our part. We want to protect our communities. We want to, again, make sure that we are taking care of them, not just the fun stuff like the World Cup, but even the World Cup, it's focused on an effort for security, right? Because we don't want an international incident here. We don't want a crisis here. And we try to prevent and coordinate as much as possible. And if you guys remember the Blitz raids, all of the retail theft that we've been talking about for 2 to 3 years, right? We passed a law that made organized retail theft a crime in California. So when you guys see the Blitz on TV where there's 20 guys going and stealing from a jewelry store or something like that, we made that illegal. But what we also did through our partnership with CHP is say that we wanted Blitz efforts in the Bay Area to say that if a crime, they immediately go onto the freeway and disappear. So we're working with our law enforcement because we believe that they can do the job and we want to support them, but we also need the support ourselves. So I will highlight that we've had some fun events. I'm gonna be honest with you, these are some fun events, and some of them, you know, I think all of these are actually in Newark. So kudos to Newark, right? And I really just wanted to, again, wish you all a happy Latina Heritage or Latino Heritage Month and a Filipino Heritage Month. And again, as much as possible, we do have different events that we host. We have a senior scam prevention workshop. Again, our seniors, our veterans, our disabled individuals, and our undocumented/immigrant communities are usually targeted. And so we try to give the best practices. We also have other events where we're making sure that there's networking and, again, legislative updates and much more. But one of the cool events that I always love to say is our turkey drive. How many of you guys participated in our turkey drive in any way? Yes, yes. So we are doing it, yes. So our turkey drive, Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays because you eat and you wear loose pants and you could just enjoy yourselves, right? And the reality is that Thanksgiving, and you know, as a former foster care kid myself, I will tell you guys, sometimes the holidays are the loneliest, okay? And I just want to make sure that people at least can have a hot meal and just enjoy themselves for even a day, a couple of hours. So our team last year was actually pretty impressive. We fed over 1,000 families, gave them a turkey, and people lined up at 6 in the morning, and we were drenched because it was the rainiest day of the year. We all got sick afterwards, right? And we saw that as much as this district is considered an affluent district, there's a lot of people that live in the shadows of the disparity that's also in our district. And so as the mayor does his Meals on Wheels, you know, we also try to make sure that we are giving back to our community as much as possible. And we are gonna have one the weekend before Thanksgiving. Friday, see? And no questions asked. Pop your trunk open, a frozen turkey, a hen if somebody prefers it, and some actual food, you know, in bags. So I do just want to flag that that was one of my favorite events. And again, as much as possible, the reason why we do this is because I want to make it very, very clear to all of you, we work for you. My entire team, every single elected here, we work for you. So if we aren't doing our job, we want to know, what can we help with? So if you guys have any questions or want to contact us, we are always available. We will always answer the phone within, my rule is 24 hours, right? They hate that rule, just FYI, guys. But as much as possible, we want to make sure that everyone's taken care of. Now, the cool part of tonight, okay? So I did kind of talk about the investments and so forth, and I want to formally present a check to the city of Newark for all of the work that you guys do and this project that I just referenced. And if you guys would like to come up here, I'd like to present you guys with a Vanna White type check. You can have it.
Mr. Banu? We're gonna run to the bank really quickly tonight.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Now right here. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, guys.
Before the Dr. Aisha Wahab leaves, I want to just comment on a couple things. One, she is absolutely a true advocate for the city of Newark. And when she called me, there was a time crunch. Mayor, I have some money available. I'd like to give it to the city of Newark. But I need to hear from you by tomorrow or the next day because the state has a budget timeline process. And if you want to take advantage of that, I need to hear from you in a day or two. And kudos to Mr. Banoon and the staff, because I called Mr. Banoon, I said, we have some opportunities for some money here. What's our immediate project that we want to work on? And we got back to the state senator right away and said, this is where we could use that money. And she delivered that money to us. So big thanks for that. The homeless issue and the affordability issue is significant in our community. The council supports affordability. We're looking at projects moving forward where affordability better be part of that development proposal or we're not going to consider it. We've made that clear to developers. I want to see affordability. We want to see affordability because we want people that live in our city to be able to stay in our city and their children to stay in our city. And when we recognized the homelessness issue within the Bay Area, and when I heard about the home key opportunity through the state, we immediately submitted an application and received almost $40 million to convert an underutilized hotel to where we can provide 125 units for folks that are either homeless or on the verge of homelessness. And when I had the mayor of Pleasanton looking at the state allocation, Newark, you know, it's because we understand the importance of these state dollars. We recognize how they can benefit our community. We got on the phone, we got the work done, and the state senator supported us. So she's a real good friend of the city of Newark, not because she used to live here, but that doesn't hurt. But we want to thank the state senator for her advocacy and our continued partnership, and know that she has our support as a community moving forward because she's looking out for our best interests. The last thing I'll say is thank you for your advocacy as we deal with the immigration issue today. I recognize the fear in our community. I do recognize that. We, the city of Newark, took a stance a long time ago. We don't concern ourselves with your immigration status. You are a resident of our community. You're important to our community. We welcome you into our community because you're working hard, you're paying taxes, and you're a contributor to our community and our economy. So we welcome all those folks in our community, but I understand the fear that they're dealing with. My hope is, as the state senator indicates, that this is something that's a lot of talk and no action. That would certainly be something that we would welcome. But I do want our residents to know that if they are fearful or they do want to seek opportunity for services, we certainly have that available on our city website. Certainly the state senator's office is available. Make sure as you talk to your friends and your colleagues and your neighbors, let them know, don't be afraid. There's folks here in the community looking out for you and your family to make sure you feel safe and are safe. We make that commitment in the city of Newark, and I know the state senator supports us in that. So again, thank you for your presentation today. We have a number of recognition items that we need to do, and I'm going to ask my colleagues if they'd be kind enough to stay with me down here, because I'm a real believer that as we issue these proclamations and commendations, that they come from the mayor, but they really do come from the entire city council. So the first folks that we're going to recognize are the folks that put in such hard work in celebrating Newark's 70th birthday. We are 70 years old, 70 years young. So I want to thank the organizers of the Newark Days and ask Lori Gratz if she would come up here and accept this proclamation on behalf of the council. Colleagues, you want to come up and join me? This is where I transition from my regular glasses to my reading glasses. Otherwise, I can't read anything. I'm sorry. But, you know, these folks that do Newark Days are all volunteers. That's what makes Newark such a unique and great community when we reach out to our folks and say, we want to celebrate. Can you help us? And this is not we got a week or two that we can set aside for this. They do it for almost 10 months every year to put together this program, and one that every year the number of folks that participate grows because I think the community has grown to love Newark Days. And it's really as a result of the hard work that Lori and her staff do day in and day out. So let me just read this. I always like the one that has the bigger font. It's easier for me to read. Whereas this is commending the Newark Days Committee, whereas the Newark Days Committee annually celebrates the birthday of our city during the month of September. This year, Newark Days celebration once again a great success. Newark Days Committee is made up of talented and dedicated residents who work tirelessly to make this event happen and who reflect the values so succinctly stated in our Newark Days celebration motto: people, pride, and progress. Now, therefore, I'm Michael Hanna, on behalf of my colleagues on the Newark City Council, want to recognize all the members of the committee, and there's quite a list here, and they know who they are. And Jason, if I mispronounce the names, Jason Beiser, Jane Burns, Aaron Fink, David Fink, Gil Fletcher, Lori Gratz, Kristen Harvey, Kat Jones, our president of our Newark Unified School District Board, Matthew Jorgens, Sharon Keelam, Tammy Limitiaka, Libby Macris, Ramona McMaster. Ramona, thank you for all the work that you do. Mary Ellen Mellons, Sherry Nealon, Philip Novak, Kelly Rada, Donna Sisk. Oh, by the way, let's not forget Shirley Sisk. Okay, I say that every opportunity that I can, because Newark Days really was the brainchild of former council member Shirley Sisk. And, you know, Shirley's struggling with health issues, but I always want her to know that she's always in our hearts and our minds, and we're thankful for what she started and what continues to this day. Sean Smith, Valerie Smith, Nick Valencia, Tony Vargas, Gloriana Wong, for another successful Newark Day celebration. And thank you for their commitment to making this event that the entire city looks forward to with anticipation and pride. And now, therefore, I issue this on behalf of my council to Miss Lori Gratz.
Thank you very much.
You don't have to. It's up to you. Okay. Lori wants to say, on behalf of Lori, I just want to say she does such a fabulous job. It's a tireless job. And I know that, you know, the committee is always looking for volunteers.
Yes.
I'm going to see a show of hands. Who would like to volunteer to be on the Newark Days Committee moving forward? You know, outstanding. It's only successful because of those people that make a commitment to participate. I think the vice mayor might have some time on her hands too.
Oh, yes,
yes.
And I do want to thank the community, because we cannot do this without the community. The community is very big in this, and the schools, everybody is a part of Newark Days. That's what makes it successful.
And it's beyond our region. The state senator was there for Newark Days and handing out cupcakes. I know our state assembly member was there. So this is a big day in our community, and we thank them for participating. So once again. The next group I'd like to call up is proclaiming Filipino American History Month. So if there are folks from the Filipino community, please come up and join me in the council. Don't be shy. I won't ask you to lead the pledge. Oh, great. Yes. They're all afraid of the mayor for some reason. You know, I got $1 million check here, guys. You know? Dinner's on me. Wait, was that an FPPC issue? Yes. Whereas California is proud to be home to the largest Filipino-American population in the nation that contributes greatly to shaping, advancing, enriching our community. Nearly 100,000 Filipinos live in Alameda County, representing 6% of our population. Whereas Filipino Americans are the third largest Asian American group in the United States and the second largest Asian American group in the state of California. Whereas the Filipino American National Historical Society recognizes the year 1763, a date of permanent Filipino settlement in the United States in St. Malo, Louisiana. Whereas in November of 2009, the United States Congress passed a resolution officially recognizing October as Filipino American History Month, whereas Filipino men and women have made valuable contributions to all areas of life throughout California and the United States, including government, business, education, arts and science, medicine, healthcare, law enforcement, and the military. Whereas Filipino Americans have a long history of engaging in social justice movements across the nation, including but not limited to the United Farm Workers Movement and the Hawaii Sugar Plantation. Whereas the Filipino American communities have shared their rich culture and tradition with neighbors and friends while setting examples of model citizenship and public service. Therefore, I, the mayor, along with my council, declare Filipino American History Month in October. Thank you. In Newark, and encourage all Americans in the community to engage in efforts to learn more and be respectful, certainly, of the Filipino American community. So let me please present this proclamation. Anybody?
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, we're from the Newark Memorial High School, the only high school in Newark. But this is Lexi. She's the
Hi everyone, my name is Alexia Delacruz and I'm the FSU president.
I'm Precious. I'm the FSU secretary, and we just wanted to share information about what FSU is to the high school. But thank you for having us. Our goal as FSU officers is to honor our Filipino heritage and gather community in Newark Memorial High School. And we do that by hosting events and meetings, such as
Tinikling, that's what we do for our cultural event at school, which is a dance that we perform with bamboo sticks, and it reflects the farmers and how they used to trap the animals on the farms.
And we also hold other meetings. We recently had the Roses to the Nurses,
yes,
where we wrote letters that we sent out to the Washington Hospital.
And currently we are gathering donations to send to the Philippines, so the low-income schools over there have gifts to start off their new year with the school supplies that they should deserve.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's get a photo with the council. Can we get a photo in the front here with the council? Young ladies, would you like to hold this? You're welcome. Colleagues? Congratulations. So Proclamation 1957 is proclaiming Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month. I would like to invite former Vice Mayor Susie Collazo. I'd like to invite members of Avanzando. I'd like to invite members of Promotores and invite members of the Puente Project to join me up here. Uh-oh. Or is it easier for me to join you back here?
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I know, it would have been easier. Hi, ¿cómo estás? Vénganse aquí está la pachanga.
This is such a significant proclamation we issue to our community. The city of Newark is roughly 35% Latino Hispanic, roughly 35%. These folks that are here behind me are contributors and are successful business people, successful students, and successful citizens and residents of our community, and we appreciate you. I want you to know that. Whereas each year Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month by celebrating the histories, culture, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central and South America. Whereas Hispanic Heritage Month began as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1968 and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to a month, starting on September the 15th and ending October the 15th. But in my mind, in the city of Newark, every day, every week, every month, we need to recognize Hispanic and Latino contributions to our community. Whereas Hispanic and Latino Americans have had a profound and positive influence on our country through their strong commitment to family, faith, hard work, and service. Sounds like I'm talking about your mom again.
It does.
And have enhanced and shaped our national characters with centuries-old traditions that reflect the multi-ethnic and multicultural customs of their community. Whereas 68 million people are Hispanic or Latino origin today, making them the second largest ethnic group in the United States. This represents a significant increase from the year 2000, when the Hispanic and Latino population registered at 35.3 million. So in less than, 20 years? Doubled. Whereas there are over 15.7 million Hispanic and Latino American citizens in the state of California, and 13,500 in the city of Newark, making them a 28.6% of our population. Whereas Hispanic and Latino Americans have contributed to the development and success of California by playing major roles in building this state through the agriculture, medicine, science, military, armed forces, entertainment, business, education, civil rights, politics, and sports. Not sure if I left anything out there. Now, therefore, I, Michael Hannon, proudly, on behalf of my Newark City Council, proclaim September 15th through October 15th as Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month in Newark, and encourage all members of the community to share in the annual event by learning about and celebrating the generation of Hispanic and Latino Americans who have positively influenced and enriched our society. So I present this, if I may, to former Vice Mayor Susie Collazo. I know you'll share this with all of your colleagues that are here today. And let's all get up closer if we can get a photo. Let's move over, let's get a photo.
Sí se puede.
You have to say sí se puede.
Sí se puede.
Yeah, sí se puede.
I always wait for the Vice Mayor to give me direction.
Okay.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
I know there's a few folks that want to speak, so I'm going to start with Susie. And I know Elizabeth with the Puente group would like to say a few words. I've asked her to do so. So I'll start with Susie. You can hide, Elizabeth, but you're going to... No.
I know he wanted to start with me, but I wanted to be last. I will take first place here. It is with my deepest respect and sadness that commitment to the safety and the well-being of all our families that I regret to inform you that my Dia de los Muertos celebration scheduled for this Saturday, 25th, is being canceled. And my priority will always be to protect our community, prevent any situation that could put our participants, families, and anybody that's collaborating with me at risk. We understand how important this tradition is to all of us. And we deeply regret having to make this decision, but we do plan to reschedule another event for a later date in the spring. So we will have a festival, it will go on, and then next year, we will do Dia de los Muertos all over again. From Avanzando. So now we have our president from Avanzando, Jacinta Arteaga.
Good evening. I'm Jacinta Arteaga, president of Avanzando, and I stand here today surrounded by all these wonderful people who are passionate about serving our community. I want to sincerely thank Mayor Hannon and all of the City Council for recognizing Latino heritage. It is an honor to be acknowledged alongside so many individuals and organizations that uplift and celebrate community involvement. Our mission has always been to open doors of opportunity through education and the recognition. This recognition reminds us that our efforts matter, not just to the students we support, but to the broader community that we serve. Thank you for the continued support for celebrating Latino heritage, and for shining a light on the importance of investing in our future leaders. We are proud to be a part of the community that values education, culture, and collaboration. I also want to take this opportunity to bring attention to the current situation that is developing around us and creating a culture of fear in our Latino community. We stand together with our community against hate and bigotry. The federal shutdown has turned into a food emergency for all of our community, where families could now go hungry. We know November EBT benefits have been delayed, and this could extend to December as well. This is a call to action. We ask that everyone reach out to your community food banks and consider volunteering or donating to help ease food insecurities. If you see ICE activities, stay safe, but report it, and if possible, film the interaction. We must all come together to protect our families, our friends, and our community. So I have the names of the food pantries that I'm hoping that I have some time to hand. So we have Viola Blythe Community Center that we all know is deeply rooted in Newark. Please, please refer people that you see with food insecurities there. We have the parents and shielding staff. They're located at 36901 on Spruce Street. We have the Solid Rock Community Services. They're located at 5970 Thornton Avenue. We have the Salvation Army Tri-Cities, who's located at 36700 Newark Boulevard. And then we have the Support Life Foundation, which is located at 5880 Thornton Avenue. Thank you all for this recognition of Latino Heritage Month.
You know, some of us, and I want to thank Jacinta for her leadership in our community, as we consider making donations to those nonprofits. Remember, there's many of us that are in this room that are certainly have benefited because of a good economy over the last couple of years. So take that opportunity. If you have a little bit of extra money, you know, maybe consider making a donation. And they've made it so much easier these days with, QR codes and things of that nature. So I would certainly encourage folks to make those contributions. Somebody from, yes, Vice Mayor?
Can I just add one thing? So just to let you guys know, Scouting for Food is coming up the second and third week of November. You guys are going to see the signs. This is when all the scouts get out on the street and we collect all of the items. So please, please, and all of the food that we collect doesn't go to Alameda County. All that food stays here in Newark and it gets donated to Viola Blythe. So that drive, that weekend, the third weekend of November, brings in an average of 30% of Viola Blythe's food. In one day, we collect 30% of their food bank. Right? That's a Saturday. But so I want to let you guys know, if you have any cans, if you have any stuff, the scouts are going to be walking by, or you can also drop it off at the First Presbyterian Church. I'll be posting it online and things of that sort. So the scouts are all working to help take care of this.
Excellent. And last year, the Scouts were able to collect well over 5,000 cans of food that went back to serve our community. Let's see if we can't hit, as a community, 6,000 this year. That is my goal, and that should be our target. I've asked a representative of Puente to speak. It's such a worthwhile program in the city of Newark, where a lot of our kids are really benefiting, because the goal is to make sure that they're getting the quality of education and that they can get on to those UC, Stanford, and other Ivy League schools. So I've asked Puente to speak and maybe give a little bit of an understanding as to what Puente is for those that aren't aware. Please.
Hi, I'm Mr. Landon. I'm one of the Puente staff members at Newark Memorial. First off, I just want to say it's a tremendous honor to be up here with wonderful community leaders such as Susie and Jacinta. So I'm just speaking on behalf of the Puente program, but this is a great honor to be part of this proclamation. Puente is a program that prepares first-generation students to be ready for four-year universities. And we do this through college visits and intensive writing and incorporating multicultural literature into the English classes. Another big component of Puente is developing leadership skills through mentoring and community service. And we're doing that so that the Puente students can come back, return to this community, and be up on this stage and be leaders as well. And I know I've seen some of my former students speaking at board meetings, speaking up at events, and so it's a tremendous honor to be here. And to me, Newark Puente it means community, culture, and compassion, and that's what we're all about. And this is just an incredible honor, and I'm proud to be up here with all of you. Thank you very much.
And we have another proclamation for promotores. Do you want to wait and speak then?
Yes.
No. No, are you kidding? No, the promotores is such a significant movement in our city. They deserve their own recognition. So I certainly encourage everyone to stay. Otherwise, I'm going to look for just the folks that are promotores, but I'll leave it up to the folks that are up here, because it's easy for these groups to kind of meld together, because they share a similar philosophy of empowerment, and that's what it's all about. So it's my honor to issue Proclamation 1954, declaring Promotores October 2025 as Promotores Month, okay?
So give us a moment so we can leave, so
Sure.
that
Sure.
promotoras can be
Sure.
up here. And
Thank you. Thanks, Jacinta.
We're confused.
Yeah.
Oh, solo la.
Oh, sure. Folks, can I ask after everyone sits down, I'd like to get a photograph with the council and the Puente students, please.
Yeah.
So can we do that first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Puente. Sorry.
Hey, how are you?
And then,
They won't go to bed. This is cool night for them.
Oh, forwards? Let's move up in front of the podium. Okay. Otherwise, it looks awkward. Why is the mayor standing there by himself?
One, two, three.
First of all.
Let's hear from these students who are fabulous. One of these days, one of you are going to be sitting up in that mayor's seat, right? Right? Not the mayor says he's not running for office again. I can't possibly beat somebody with this much energy. So congratulations. I expect you to be leaders in this community in all seriousness moving forward, okay? All right. All right, now let's go ahead and invite the Promotores organization to come up and join us.
Pónganse las guapas enfrente por acá.
You know, as often as I see Etta Rivera coming back, I think she's still actually on the city payroll, right, Mr. Benoon? Mr. Benoon, is Etta still on the city payroll? I see her so often. Nice to see her.
Do you want people to get closer?
No, we're good for now. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
The kids are leaving there to go to school.
Want the little.
So this is Proclamation 1954. Promotores are Spanish-speaking community members who are trained to be advocates, who create solutions to community needs. Whereas the Promotores Newark plays an invaluable role in making the city of Newark more welcoming. Thank you. Whereas the Newark Promotores Network acts as as intermediary boundaries. Why am I not reading this with my reading glasses on? You know.
You gotta keep switching back and forth.
Because you look better with us on the photos.
Thank you. Remember, what happens up here stays up here.
Yeah, sí se puede.
Sí se puede. The Newark Promotores acts as intermediaries between healthcare, social service, and educational institutions and the Latino community. They provide information, referrals, and training to ensure access to these vital services, whereas the Newark Promotores Network work is grounded in strong cultural values, including a deep appreciation for personal relationships and an eagerness to help and support each other in the community. Whereas as they learn to navigate a new culture and community, the Newark Promotores Network becomes guides to other families new to our city. The Newark Promotores Network is like an extended family, providing social and emotional support to each other. October 2025 has been designated as Promotores Month. Therefore, I, Mike Hanna, on behalf of my colleagues on the council in Newark, thank the Newark Promotores Network for their compassion and commitment they show to the Newark community. They are role models for all of us on how to nurture the health, safety, and educational and financial well-being of the most underserved families. And I'd like to say, because I became involved with Promotores almost from the get-go, and in my mind, when I first saw it organized, it was really a part of our community that had been silent. And not because they didn't have a voice, but they didn't know how to focus on how they could empower not only their families, their neighborhood, and the community. And this organization has grown significantly because once you give people a little bit of knowledge, right, it's amazing what they can do, not only for the betterment of their families and friends, but their neighborhood as well. So it's with great honor that we recognize Promotores and just continue to wish them success as they move forward and as they continue to grow, because the more folks that are empowered, the better our community is. So it's with great honor I award this to Miss Etta Rivera.
Let me find my notes here real quick. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, community members, and promotores present here today. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the City of Newark on behalf of all the promotores for this recognition in honor of Promotores Month. This award celebrates the work and trajectory of our promotores in the health sector, and it also represents all the committed and talented women who brighten our community. Women who inspire, who accompany, who listen. Women who lead with empathy, with strategic vision, and with an unwavering commitment to the well-being of our society. Each one brings her experience, her voice, and her heart to improve the quality of life of the families we serve. Let us continue standing together, creating spaces of support, hope, and education, because of our work transforms lives every single day. We shine together. The world needs our magic. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to read this in Spanish for promotoras as well. Buenas noches, alcalde, concejales y miembros de la comunidad. Quiero expresar mi más profundo agradecimiento a la ciudad de Newark por este reconocimiento en honor al mes de las promotoras. Este galardón celebra la trayectoria de nuestras promotoras en el sector de la salud y a la vez representa a todas las mujeres comprometidas y talentosas que iluminan nuestra comunidad. Mujeres que inspiran, que acompañan, que escuchan. Mujeres que lideran con empatía, con visión, con estratégica y con un compromiso inquebrantable hacia el bienestar de nuestra sociedad. Cada una aporta su experiencia, su voz, su corazón para mejorar la calidad de vida de las familias que servimos. Sigamos unidas, creando espacios de apoyo, esperanza y educación, porque nuestro trabajo transforma vidas todos los días. Brillamos juntas. El mundo necesita nuestra magia. Gracias. And I actually want to thank the mayor and vice mayor for attending the last cohort of graduates that we had. We have many of them here. We had actually 17 new promotoras that have been integrated to this for the city of Newark.
Nice, congratulations.
Felicidades. Gracias. Dios mío, te salió muy bonito todo.
Gracias.
Sí.
A photo?
Gracias.
Photo?
No habíamos escuchado nada, pero veremos, ¿verdad? Echamos mucho ojo con todo eso.
One, two, three.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have one more proclamation I need to issue. So this is proclamation number 1953. 1953. Whereas this is National Arts and Humanities Month, October 2025. Whereas the City of Newark strongly supports National Arts and Humanities Month in October, the largest annual celebration for the arts and humanities in the nation, recognized by states, counties, and cities throughout the United States for 3 decades. Whereas the City of Newark celebrates the arts and humanities as important parts of our lives that create connections, promote well-being, and make our society healthier and stronger. Whereas the arts and humanities tell our stories, encouraging freedom of expression that empowers everyone to think and speak creatively for the collective goal. Whereas businesses focusing on the arts and humanities are among the most vital sectors of our local, state, and national economy, supporting thriving communities by creating opportunities and jobs. Whereas the City of Newark adopted its first public art master plan in 2001, we'll hear more about that later, establishing a vision and framework for how public art can enliven the city and reflect the diverse culture. Whereas following a highly successful community outreach program, the updated park master plan adopted by the council in 2024 reinforced the city's commitment to integrating art into public spaces and enhancing civic life. Whereas the public arts master plan vision is that all residents and visitors in Newark experience public art as part of their daily lives and throughout all neighborhoods, celebrating the city's history, people, natural resources, natural environment, and culture. Whereas the City of Newark supports the arts and humanities together with the Alameda County Arts Commission and the Alameda County City Level Arts Partnership Network, which includes city arts commissions and councils throughout the county. Therefore, I'm Michael Hanna, on behalf of my colleagues on the Newark City Council, declare October as National Arts and Humanities Month and encourage our community members to celebrate and promote the arts and humanities throughout the city and the region. And I'd like to invite Adrienne Dedick to join me. I love your shirt. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
So Adrienne is a Newark artist who is known for her whimsical textile collages that have been exhibited nationwide. On December the 6th and 7th, you can experience her art at the 24th annual Newark Artists Open Studios event. And I know you may be able to give us a little bit more information about that.
Sure.
But let me please present this certificate to you and thank you for your contributions to the arts.
Well, thank
and
you.
especially to our city of Newark.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you. This is quite an honor. I really didn't expect this to be. But yeah, we have several very talented Newark artists that will all be participating, opening their studios to the community December 6th and 7th. We'd love for you to come see our studios, talk to the artists, see what they're working on. You can see their techniques, and just be inspired. And hopefully it'll inspire creativity in you as well. And as part of this proclamation, I know the artists in Newark will really look forward to offering more creative opportunities for all of you to share in. We'd love to, have offer workshops, demonstrations, talks, presentations, all the kinds of things that you can really get an opportunity to express your creativity. We'd love to help you do that.
Thank you. Let's get in front, Adrienne.
Okay.
Mr. Benoon, I would request, if I may, as we look at December 6th and 7th, possibly we could put those locations of the various artists on our city website so folks have that information so that they actually have an opportunity to visit those sites. All right, folks, we're going to take a 5-minute break. I'm sorry.
10-minute break.
10-minute break from the vice mayor. 5 minutes for everybody else. No. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the city council meeting back to order. Thank you for your patience for those of you that are here for other items or public comment. One thing that I learned long ago, and I think it's the opinion of the city council historically, is that we are a community of celebrations. So we like to celebrate successes in our community. We'd like to think that council meetings are opportunities to celebrate either new development, new ideas, new things to make the community a better community. So thank you for your patience as we recognized all those various groups and organizations who really do outstanding work to make sure our community is better. Yesenia. I should have called Yesenia. Yesenia, are you here? I apologize.
We gave Adrian her shine, and that's what it's for.
You know, I have a vice mayor for a reason. And, that's the vice mayor. Mayor, you may want to invite Yesenia up to the podium because that's what your notes say. But, so, come on, vice mayor.
I was thinking of tacos and margaritas the whole time they were up here.
I apologize for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the public comments section. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak on any item that is not on the agenda this evening. Is there anybody that would like to speak under public comment? Yes, please come forward. And please, I would just simply ask that you introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Sure, of course.
You might want to turn around and face the council.
The council, okay, sure.
Yeah. Because we're the ones that you want to try to influence. But I do want to remind the folks, under public comment, because these are not items that are not on the agenda, we're not disrespectful to you, but we can't comment on your comments. Now, if there's an issue that's raised, for example, Mayor, I live on Mayhew's Landing, and there's a pothole, then I may ask the city manager to comment or get down the information so we can then respond accordingly. But, so it's not out of disrespect, but we don't comment on public comments.
Gotcha.
Please.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor, respected council members, and distinguished guests. Namaste, everyone. My name is Aarti, and I represent the Hindu community in and around the city of Newark. Let me take this opportunity to express our gratitude to the Honorable Mayor and the City Council members for appreciating and proclaiming the month of October as the Hindu Heritage Month. October is recognized as Hindu Heritage Month, which is a wonderful and positive step of our Hindu American community. This month is especially meaningful for the Hindus around the world because we celebrate Diwali. That's right. Yeah, and it's called the Festival of Lights. And Diwali is more than just a celebration, which is a time to reflect on how the light triumphs over darkness, knowledge over ignorance, and hope over despair. And it encourages us to uphold our values, act with honesty, and promote peace within our families and communities. As most of us are aware, just past week, California state became the third US state to announce Diwali as an official state holiday. Yay. Yes. Having said that, this year's Diwali festival becomes even more special to the Hindu community in California because of this. So, I volunteer for a Hindu community service project called Seva Diwali, which is a contribution to the needy and poor. We are initiating a food drive to contribute to the needy and the poor. Yeah, this project promotes Hindu values, community spirit, and selfless service. We uphold the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the entire world is one family. We believe that serving others is a way to serve the divine, as expressed in the saying, Nar Seva, Narayana Seva. Selfless service or seva is at the heart of our celebrations and daily life. During Diwali, we focus on this special national project called Seva Diwali. Seva Diwali brings together thousands of volunteers from all over the country. This project invites people to use their homes as collection points for canned food, non-perishable items, and winter clothing. These donations go to the local food banks and homeless shelters, so the spirit of Diwali and giving reaches those who need it the most. In 2024, Seva Diwali made a huge difference. About 3,000 volunteers across the nation collected and distributed over 717,000 pounds of food and supplies in 38 states and more than 200 cities. Being the 7th consecutive year for this event, it involved 247 organizations, including Hindu, Jain, Buddhist, and Sikh temples, schools, and other community groups. So, all these data show that we can achieve, how much we can achieve when the communities work together. So we take this opportunity to kindly request your guidance and assistance in identifying and helping more local food banks and shelters that can benefit from our outreach. Your support will help us ensure that our efforts are as inclusive and as far-reaching as possible. As we celebrate Diwali, we wish to share its light and hope with all the residents of Newark. We believe that every individual, regardless of background or faith, deserves to be uplifted and respected. I am really grateful to the City of Newark for considering this initiative, and I really look forward to continuing to serve and support our diverse growing community. Thank you, and namaste again. Thank you.
And where? Yes. Thank you.
Hi, sorry, I was confused.
Is that a Newcastle jersey?
Definitely not. This is a Guatemala
Definitely
jersey.
not. Definitely not. No, I would have accepted no, Mayor, with all due respect. No, but definitely not.
Cannot disrespect Guatemala.
I got you. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Arlette Jacome. I am a resident of Newark. I graduated from Newark Memorial High School in 2012. I'm a proud Guatemalan. And I came to speak in regards to the ICE raids and federal troops coming to the Bay Area. As you all know, they have arrived here today. And despite Trump proclaiming he is not sending any more troops or agents to San Francisco, I personally do not believe him. And that could just be semantics, and they could be sent around San Francisco. So I come here to ask City Council to do more and to uphold the title of our city as a welcoming city. Thank you so much for recognizing Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month, but we need you to clearly state that ICE is not welcome in Newark, and Newark authorities will not comply with their presence. There was a I don't know if the city is deciding to enforce municipal code on prohibited signs. I bring this up because around the beginning of this year, when LA was invaded by ICE, that led to the state of emergency that now has led to so much fear and violence happening in LA. A lot of Bay Area organizations started to prepare for possible ICE raids here in the Bay Area by distributing flyers specifically for a CLIP, which is the response network to protect immigrants and anyone detained by ICE. But at that time, this enforcement meant that all these signs were brought down from around the city. And that means that a lot of people do not have access to this number and the information from a CLIP, and it's really hard to share that information unless it's somewhere public and visible. We know that Newark, as you stated today, is 85% Latino, or not 85, 35% Latino. We're also a very diverse city. I grew up with a lot of Filipino classmates and just people from all over. We are a heavy immigrant community. So that means that our resources should be accessible and available to everybody in our community in their respective languages. So to me, I guess the question is, how will our city compensate for the lack of visible resources due to the enforcement of supposedly prohibited signage, when this might be one of the only ways people out on the streets will be able to have access to that number in an emergency if ICE were to come to Newark? I had also emailed the city council in April of 2025 regarding the idea of welcoming city yard signs, because that's when I found out that Newark considered itself a welcoming city, which I think is really great. And the city council seemed really open to that suggestion, but since then I haven't heard really anything about that. I don't know what that means, if there's anything in the works, but as a citizen, I don't know anything. So I would personally like to see something like yard signs that members of our city can put on their signs to clearly state that we are a welcoming city. I did not know that until not too long ago, and so I think our population should be able to know that. But I also think that this could be an opportunity for the city to also provide ways for residents to put on their properties or on the streets, essentially, these resources that people need to have access to. So this could include the number to the CLIP hotline. It could include things like know your rights. We know that when the ICE raids happen, they violate our rights and they don't respect them, but it helps when our people know their rights to protect themselves. This would be really important in schools. We know that a lot of children might not go to school because their parents may be undocumented, so they're going to be afraid to go. This would be important to place in near the libraries and main intersections. And I think our city needs to invest and collaborate with community partners to provide more trainings and workshops for the residents and business owners on how to combat this ICE invasion. Dia de los Muertos was canceled due to this fear, so this is really obviously present in Newark. Some people think Newark won't be targeted. We're a small city, but in LA, small cities were targeted while the protests were actively protesting these ICE raids in LA proper. So they could come for Newark specifically because we are small. So I'm just asking you to please, put your money where your mouth is, to really stand up and show the residents of Newark that we are here for our immigrants, that there are resources out there, that they're easy to access. I was at the library today. I found a lot of young women, a lot of mothers who didn't know about these resources, and I was able to share that, but I am one person, and as our elected officials, I hope you will do more. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Mr. Boone and I do recall receiving an email suggestion regarding the possibility of creating some signage similar to what we have. Newark is Against Hate, for example, that maybe we consider the opportunity to reach out to the community to see if there's interest in maybe signage on personal property. Newark is a welcoming community or something of that nature. I would ask you have city staff maybe contact this young lady and let's explore that idea further, okay? So thank you for that suggestion. Next, please come forward. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. So I'm going to continue kind of this message that we've been talking about throughout the day. My name is Claire Reynoso. I'm a longtime Newark resident, third generation. We actually went to high school together, so this is fun to be here with you today. But I just wanted to say, and we've heard a lot of people talk about this, and we've had the opportunity to celebrate Latino and Hispanic heritage as people identify. But I also want to kind of elaborate more on what we are under attack as a state and as a community. So today we are under attack, and we have been for some time. This morning we saw photos of federal agents targeting our Bay Area brothers and sisters in Alameda, which, as we all know, or hopefully we do, it's not too far from here. We often see signs declaring that Newark is a welcome city. Literally, when you walk in, you see that one right there. And I believe that we can be. We heard that support from our state senator and our mayor, and I'm thankful for that, but being welcoming isn't just about words and putting up a poster at the door or helping with casework. That won't always save us. We need preventative defense too. Right now, every place where Black and brown people gather has become a vulnerable space. Our stores, our parking lots, our churches, our schools, and our homes. And I'm not saying this to spread fear, I'm saying this to demand real action. Beyond a statement, beyond a casework link, really getting out and preparing our people, teaching each other what to do when faced with ICE. I'm sick of watching people thrown to the ground on the news, wondering when that person will be my friend or my family members. And we like to think that that won't happen to us, but we can't say that confidently anymore. A vicious government will always find a new group to attack, and it will start with the hungry, the poor, the weak, and then it will be you. So we must act now. We must invest our time, our money, and our energy in protecting one another, preparing one another. We need cities to educate families about their rights. We need signs posted everywhere with emergency numbers. We need businesses to have a phone tree to warn each other in silence. We need Newark police to commit publicly to keeping us safe and not working with ICE. We need the city to publicly state that they will not share information. We need your voice and your action. We need you out in the city talking to our neighbors, creating real solutions, because people are afraid. Today, Arlette and I took time to walk around Home Depot to talk to our brothers, and they are very scared. And a lot of them did not know their rights, and many of them don't know that the city council even exists. And that's rightfully so that they're afraid. They weren't aware of their networks available to them either. We need you out there with us. It can't just be us in those parking lots or us walking to businesses. We need a real action plan for the day that ICE comes to Newark's door. I urge you to create that plan, be fearless, protect our people. Newark's strength has always been its people. It's somewhere that I'm very proud to be from. On top of that, we are facing a horrific government shutdown and are approaching a month without food stamps, which again, I appreciate you mentioning earlier in the possible places that people can get resources. But that needs to go beyond just socials and at this meeting. We need people knocking on doors. So many of our friends and families are afraid to leave their houses. They're afraid to leave doors. We need notes on their doors saying where their local food banks are. I know that my own family and friends are afraid to leave their house. They're afraid to go grocery shopping, and now they can't even afford the groceries that they need to get. So we need you all really out there beyond those seats and beyond the titles that you have. If we're a welcoming city, we need to make sure that our actions show that and that we mean that. I truly believe Newark is able to take care of each other. We have that power. We're a very strong community, and we've always have been, so I urge you to continue that. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. So I'm Shiv Shankar Galla. So I'm talking. I am from Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh, an Indian Hindu community. So even last year here, I have represented the same community, and we did a food donation drive. We have been doing this for last 6 years, since 2018. Every year we are increasing the effort, and we are trying to help the more people who are in need. Like every year 30% we are trying to increase, and last year we have donated around 700k pounds of food to the people who are in need. And this year our aim is to donate 1 million pounds of food across USA. And along with that, like we have also did like Vidya Dan, which is organized by our HSS community, and we provided school supplies to local schools and families in need. As the new school year approached, many families in our community faced the challenge of providing their children with essential school supplies. We directly supporting local students and giving them the opportunity to begin their school year prepared and motivated to learn. Our school have been very appreciative of our donations in the past and has shared the many stories with us on the difference that makes in their school. We are always welcome to join with us to make more effective. We always would like to work with the city council, and like if any community or if any people are needed in food, we are always in front to support the community. Please let us know if there are any need. Like we are still like we have a lot of food in our trucks. So we are waiting to distribute. Let us know if there is any need in the Newark city. We are ready to help it. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for what you do for our community. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Hannon and Vice Mayor Little, Councilmember Grindal, Councilmember Gorgons, and Councilmember Catancio. Nice to be here. I drove all the way from Milpitas. I'm the mayor of Milpitas. And I came to give you all a commendation. But before that, I wanted to say, man, you guys give your audience 5 minutes?
I'm sorry. I thought we gave only visiting mayors about a minute.
Man, I said that you guys are generous, because we give ours, the max is 3 minutes, because and then when it's really packed, it's only 1 or 2 minutes. But anyhow, aside from that, and I love your building. This is my first time here. It's beautiful. You guys did a great job. But I am here to give you a commendation and also just give you a little bit of background about myself. I was raised in Newark. I went to school here at Snow Elementary School. Back in the day, we used to go exploring and looking for, this is when there was a lot open space, and it was beautiful. Well, it is now, it still is, but we used to go look for arrowheads over there by the slough.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. We would find these little arrowheads, back from the Ohlone Indians were here. They left a lot of the relics, I guess. Yeah, and I went to St. John's, St. Edward, not St. John's. St. John's is the one in Milpitas now, but I also did my first Holy Communion at St. Edward's. And so I have deep roots here in Milpitas, and I really love this city. It's a beautiful city. So you guys are doing a fantastic job. But I'm here specifically thank you for inviting me to your 70th anniversary parade. It was beautiful. I was so impressed. You guys did a fantastic job. All the groups, it was all the people that were there too. So I thank you for inviting me to be in that parade. It was really, really nice. Gave me a lot of good ideas for our city. So I'm here on behalf of the Milpitas City Council. I, Mayor Carmen Montano, congratulate the city of Newark on their 70th anniversary parade, which was held on Saturday, September 20, 2025 in Newark. And this is a great, and since its incorporation in 1955, the city of Newark has embodied the spirit of community, innovation, and resilience. Over the past 70 years, it has grown into a vibrant and diverse city, fostering economic growth, educational excellence, and a strong quality of life. This milestone reflects Newark's continued commitment to progress, pride, and public service. And one thing we have in common, we didn't let those big old cities next to us take us over. Milpitas, San Jose was trying to annex us, but we said, no, we're going to be our own little city. And the same thing, that's what we have in common. So it's great. So congratulations on your 70th anniversary. So I want to give you this.
Colleagues, let's go down and accept the proclamation. We'll accept it formally.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Benoon?
Thank you.
Mr. Benoon?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you so much. And thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Okay.
Close comments?
Yep. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the recognition.
Oh, of course.
Isn't it amazing the number of people that are leaders in our communities that started here in Newark?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
And happy Diwali, happy Hispanic Heritage Month, and happy Filipino History Month.
Nice
All
to
right.
see you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is awesome. We're in common. We don't like Fremont.
Yeah.
Hi.
Mr. Benoon, one moment. Mr. Benoon, I'm waiting for my friend, Mayor Salwan from Fremont to show up with a commendation recognizing my great city of Newark and how we were able to become a city before they swallowed us up.
Yeah.
So thank you. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. Good to see everybody. My name is Cara Madden. It's been a while since I've been here actually on this same subject. I'm here to talk about the Maori Village development. A little bit about myself. I've been a resident of Newark for 21 years and I'm a resident of the East Bay my entire life. I grew up hiking through the wetlands at Coyote Hills and the Don Edwards National Wildlife Refuge and have gone on many field trips there, both as a child and with my 2 boys. We learned about the cultural and biological significance of the wetlands and baylands, as well as the important role that these lands play in flood control. I am here to voice my opposition to the Maori Village development that you will be reviewing and voting on in the coming weeks or months. But I am not the only person that feels this way. In addition to all the people that are here in person, I am delivering the signatures of 777 Newark residents who also oppose the Maori Village project. They are joined by 888 Fremont and Union City residents, as well as hundreds of other residents of the wider Bay Area community. In total, we deliver 2,755 signatures from individuals who support the cleanup and restoration of the pick and pull properties as part of the overall climate resilience and conservation vision for the land located west of the Silliman Center and the Union Pacific Railroad. Note that this huge banner represents only written signatures. You will each be emailed a packet that contains all the signatures gathered in person and online. Our volunteers had personal conversations with each individual who signed these petitions, and out of all the people that I spoke with personally, only one individual thought that this development was a good idea. The rest were adamantly opposed to building more houses along the bay, and the other volunteers that talked with people had similar experiences. Many people that I spoke with also had no idea that this was happening before speaking with us. They had no idea that this project was going to come before the council. And that leads me to wonder how many more people would be voicing their opposition had the city utilized all of the proactive communication methods available to ensure our residents are well informed. On our end, we plan to continue educating the public about this proposed development and why preserving this land is better for the residents of Newark. Quickly, I'd just like to outline two top concerns I heard while speaking with residents about this project. First, a lot of people were confused as to why the city would want to build on the outskirts of town where infrastructure for a housing development doesn't exist, when there are locations within Newark that make much more sense for development, such as the land around New Park Mall. There was also worried about increased traffic since this development is not near transit and there is only one main road in and out. Second, we've recently had a couple of very wet winters in the Bay Area where Newark residents saw flooding in their neighborhoods at levels we have not seen before. And residents are worried that paving over an ecosystem that acts as a natural buffer to sea level rise and storm surges are going to make their properties even more vulnerable. I also personally share this concern. I live near Lincoln Elementary School and have seen extensive flooding on my street and in my backyard during these really wet winters. In order to protect my house, I had to sandbag, thank you for providing those, and use a water pump to keep the water actively trying to get into the back portion of my house. And given my proximity to the bay, I worry that things are only going to get worse as our climate continues to change. I won't get into detail tonight, but studies have proven that wetlands play an important role in flood mitigation. We all know that climate change and sea level rise is happening, and many existing properties in Newark are already at risk of consistently flooding during certain times of the year. You have such a unique opportunity to preserve an important resource that will protect current residents, and you can avoid creating a circumstance where you're going to put future Newark residents in harm's way. So on behalf of the thousands of Newark and Bay Area residents listed here, I ask that you oppose this project and focus instead on creating sustainable, affordable housing solutions in locations that make sense. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other speakers tonight under public comments? Hi.
Hi, everyone. It's great to see all of you again. My name is Yo-Yo Ye, and I'm the local organizer for tree planting events, and I've seen so many of you at our tree planting events. I know that the City of Newark supports tree planting, and I'm really grateful for that. And I'm here tonight not to talk about trees, but to talk about marsh. So the marsh also needs someone to speak for it. And the reason I want to speak for the marsh is because marsh might not look like much, but 1 acre of marsh can sequester more than 10 times the carbon of an acre of forest. So Maori Village is 29 acres. Might not sound like much, but I could take all 130 acres of Newark parks, make it a forest if you let me, and that would not sequester the same carbon that Maori Village, if it became a wetland, would sequester. So I know we're getting our climate action plan. We're going to get our plan for the future and like sequester carbon or reduce our carbon emissions. I could spend the next 20 years planting trees, but this would have a bigger impact. So that's why I'm here to speak on behalf of the marsh. Thank you.
And thank you for your continued contributions to our community with all the efforts that you and the volunteers make in making our city beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else, please? Good evening.
Hi, Mayor Hannon and council members. Thanks for hearing us tonight. My name's Jonna Sokale. I've been a resident of Newark since 1991. I left some photos on your desk that seem to indicate why we think the lands, the marsh, the land surrounding Pick and Pull are unsuitable for development. The Maori Village site is surrounded on 3 sides by existing wetlands, 2 flood control channels, Maori Slough that flows to San Francisco Bay. Rising sea levels will result in more frequent and higher tidal flooding, more groundwater coming to the surface. These climate change impacts combined with more intense atmospheric rivers, which we've all experienced, require Newark developed strategies. I come to you tonight to say that there is a better path forward and that you already have the tools for that better path. We could, as a city, in time, close and clean up the auto dismantlers that currently operate on 19 of the 29 acres proposed for Maori Village. Newark has permitted this use for many decades under granting a conditional use permit. That permit ends in 2034. This permit also requires that Pick and Pull fully clean up the land. In addition, Alameda County also has a cleanup requirement for Pick and Pull when the business closes. A better path forward for this land is the closure of Pick and Pull and the required cleanup of the site by the owners of Pick and Pull and eventual restoration of the lands to wetland habitat. Those of us here tonight maintain that the Maori Village site is the least suitable location for development and the very best location to implement nature-based climate resilience strategies. Those strategies will sequester more carbon. They will provide a flood buffer. They will support the existing neighborhoods within the city. Funding also exists for this. Funding exists for acquisition. Funding exists for implementation of nature-based solutions. New funding's coming forward through the recently passed Proposition 4 bond fund in the state of California. Newark should position itself for state and regional funding by rejecting the housing development within an area that is vulnerable to flooding and will only become more vulnerable to flooding in the days ahead. As you can see in the comments that you will get from the 777 Newark residents, people speak to their connection to these lands even as they are today. You will see a deep love of those open spaces. You have the support of the community to say no. You have the support of scientists all around the Bay Area. You have the support of the agencies who provide grant funds. Please, when this project comes before you, say no to Maori Village. Thanks.
Thank you. Other comments? Yes, my good friend.
Good evening, Mayor Hannon, and good evening to the council. First of all, congratulations on bringing the mosaic of the city out to the city hall today. It was good to see, how much color the city exists, and with what we're going to do with Maori Village, I feel we are putting such a big mosaic of color at risk, at profound risk in many ways. I grew up in the mountains, 7,500 feet high, and when I moved to Newark, I initially didn't love this land. It was too flat for me, right? I couldn't even tolerate it. And my wife, why did you move here? I said, this is the cheapest place I could buy a home. Right, and that's the reason I moved to Newark, to be frank. I won't move somewhere else, like many of us who do here, right? And Lord behold, when I went to the wetlands, I never looked back. This is my home. This is where I'm going to live. This is where I'm going to mostly die, right? But I do feel that, we have a choice as leaders to make. Wetlands are our Noah's Ark, and this is the testimony right here, that people are telling us, please, listen to what the future is telling. These lands would flood if we build on it. And it's not when, right? We've seen it in New York. It's the question that, you might not see it. We might not see it because we only live for so many 100 years, right? But these could impact us, our children. And we have so much money that we are putting for our children ahead. Their safety is at risk. So as you look into where this city needs to go, please make a safe bet. The risky bet can cost us a lot more than we think. And we are all at zero elevation, right? No house in Newark is more than 5 feet high. So think about it, right? There is one big wave and we are all in the same water. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh, and thank you for your volunteer efforts to keep our city beautiful. Your efforts are appreciated. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. So I believe I am the last of our coalition to speak tonight, and so I just want to say good evening, or good night, council members. My name is Andrew, and I represent Greenbelt Alliance. My role walks the fine line between environmental protection and sustainable land use, advocating for climate-smart developments that preserve and strengthen our communities. Tonight, I come here both as a representative of Greenbelt and a resident of Alameda County to strongly oppose Maui Village. Greenbelt Alliance has supported numerous projects throughout the 9-county Bay Area, including major bayshore projects like the Brisbane Baylands and the LH Village in Alviso, San Jose. The key difference between Maui Village and these projects is that the projects we champion are infill that prioritizes multifamily, sustainable, affordable, deeply affordable, transit-oriented, and resilient housing. Maui Village does none of this. With the majority of the project designated as single-family housing, it fails to imagine how we can concretely tackle the region's housing crisis. And even worse, the developers have chosen acres of land that should be restored as wetland preserves, as many of my coalition members have already described. Maui Village is a short-sighted answer that puts the environment and people at risk. When we build against the wetlands, we are hurting ourselves. We destroy natural buffers that ensure climate resilience and protects our existing communities from storm surges and sea level rise. These climate hazards will put new residents at even greater risk of flooding, and at times trapping them in an area with only one access route out, and at worst, causing both physical and material harm. What is the point of building something that will soon be consumed by the bay? Maui Village is the exact opposite of the resiliency we need against the climate crisis. That is why Greenbelt Alliance, with nearly 800 Newark residents and over 2,000 more Bay Area residents, urge the city to reconsider this project and opt to preserve and restore the area as wetlands. This protects the natural ecosystem while providing numerous benefits to minimize climate risks for existing Newark residents. We should not be developing housing in this important area, but rather focus on multifamily developments on infill areas within our existing communities. It is why we oppose Maui Village. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Hannon and city council members, in respect to the time of night and how long you've been in this meeting, I was just wondering if during my 5 minutes, I could just turn around the petitions for people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Of course.
That way? We don't want to conclude it.
No, you're fine. I told the council we're going to go till 12:30 this morning, so we're good. Our pleasure. Thank you for coming for tonight, folks. Thank you for coming. Is there anybody else that would like to speak under public comment? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. We're going to move to the consent calendar. City Manager, are there any items you want pulled from the consent calendar?
Yes, Your Honor. Item D3, please.
D3. Colleagues, any item you'd like pulled from the consent calendar? Any member of the public like any item pulled from the consent calendar? Okay, so the consent calendar will consist of the following 2 items. 1, the approval of audited demands, approval of the October 9, 2029 minutes. Can I get a motion to approve? So moved. By Councilmember Jorgens and seconded by the Vice Mayor Little. Please vote. You remember how to use this thing. Was that too quick, Mr. Grindal? Do you vote yes? I do vote yes. Okay, that's 5-0. We'll leave it at that. 5-0. Thank you. Mr. Benoon, D3?
Yes, Your Honor. This item's on the consent calendar as it's a fairly routine matter. However, we do have a conflict of interest from a council member So staff asked this item be pulled off the consent calendar.
Yes, at this time, I'd like to recuse myself because I have a real property leasehold interest within the area of Thornton Avenue that we'll be discussing, as that is my residence.
How much property does Councilmember Jorgens own, for God's
I don't
sake?
own any.
Gosh, somebody hit a nerve. Mr. Benoon.
Yes, good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. Item Z3 authorizes city staff to sign and submit a funding allocation request to the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. By means of background, the city received $15 million in grant funding through Regional Measure 3, commonly known as RM3, which largely consists of bridge tolls collected throughout the Bay Area. The $15 million will be used for the Old Town Streetscape project and Thornton Avenue Street resurfacing. As I indicated a moment ago, we would typically place this on the consent calendar because it's a straightforward procedural requirement that MTC has in order for the city to receive funding. However, we removed it from the consent calendar in light of the conflict.
Okay, Mr. Benoon, any questions from my colleagues in the council? Any questions from members of the public on this item? Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
By Councilmember Grindal,
Second.
by Councilmember Contancio. Please vote. And that passes with 4 ayes and Councilmember Jorgens recusing himself. The next item is a public hearing a public hearing regarding changes to Chapter 15 of the Newark Municipal Code in order to adopt by reference with modifications to address unique local conditions. Mr. Benoon?
Yes, good evening, Your Honor. Item E1 is our triennial building code update. If the council may recall, back on September 25th of this year, the council adopted a resolution making findings related to local amendments of the city's building code. The city is required to hold a public hearing to finalize any adoptions of those amendments, and that's the purpose of tonight's public hearing. Considering that the council received a full report on this item back in September, our presentation is fairly brief. I've asked our chief building official, Mr. Matthew Farrell, to provide the council with the staff report. Mr. Farrell?
Good evening, honorable mayor and council members. Get ready for a 45-minute presentation. No, just kidding. As you recall, on September 25th, we went over the triennial code updates and the requirements by the state laws. Today, we're here for the public hearing. What I would like to point out is we are still carrying over everything discussed previously. The one item that is changing is to realign some of our sprinkler requirements to match some of the state findings as well as standard code. Any questions? If not.
Excellent. This is a public hearing, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience or that would like to speak to this item? The public hearing is closed. Colleagues, any questions on this item? Yes, Vice Mayor?
I just have a quick question. Update sprinkler requirements, I'm assuming indoor sprinklers for fire code
Correct.
reasons? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just want to say this is the best presentation we received all evening.
Trying.
If there's no other questions or comments, I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
By Councilmember Jorgens, by Vice Mayor Little. Please vote. And that passes unanimously. Mr. Farrell?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newark repealing and replacing chapters 1502, 1508, 1509, 1510, 1512, 1517, 1518, 1520, 1522, 1523, Title 15 Buildings and Construction of the Newark City Municipal Code in order to adopt by reference with modifications to address unique local conditions, 2025 editions of the California Building Code, California Administrative Code, California Residential Code, California Green Building Standards Code, California Mechanical Code, California Plumbing Code, California Fire Code, Electrical Code, California Historical Building Code, the California Energy Code, and the California Referenced Standards Code.
Boy, the recitation by the city attorney was longer than the presentation. The next item on the agenda is an ordinance adding Chapter 15.60, Art in Public Places and Private Development, and an ordinance adding Chapter 2.14 Public Art Committee to the Newark Municipal Code.
Point of order.
Yes, Your Honor.
Am I on the wrong item?
Are we doing F1 before F2 or?
Okay.
Are we switching it up?
Oh. My copy doesn't show that. All righty. Not because they carry guns. So F1 is to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter a subscription agreement to allow the continued service with Flock Group, Inc. for automated license plate removal, license plate readers. Mr. Benoon.
Yeah, Your Honor, members. The city currently has a contract with Flock Safety Group to provide automated license plate readers at points of ingress and egress in the city. These cameras are critical tools that assist our police officers in recovering stolen vehicles, locating wanted persons, and supporting police investigations. The item before you this evening is a recommendation for a 3-year extension of the existing agreement. Tonight we have a presentation from Police Captain Julie Macias, who will explain how the cameras work, share some success stories with the cameras, and articulate why staff recommends that the contract be extended. Also, I'd like to point out that before you is a slip sheet containing edits to the quote from the vendor that would increase the data storage capacity from 30 days to 365 days. Staff recommends that any action that the council take tonight include this change. With that in mind, I'll pass it over to Captain Macias. Captain?
Thank you, Mr. City Manager Benoon. Good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. I am Julie Macias, Police Captain. I'm here tonight to present information about our Automated License Plate Reader, or ALPR program, and to request approval to renew a contract with ALPR service provider Flock Safety. In 2022, 20 fixed ALPR cameras were approved by City Council, and they went live in October of that year. The initial 20 cameras were funded through the support of Assemblymember Kansan Chu with the Budget Act of 2019. This map shows our initial 20 camera deployment in October of 2022. The fixed ALPR cameras were installed at city entrance and exits. In the larger thoroughfares like Maury Avenue and Newark Boulevard, there are multiple cameras capturing all lanes of traffic. Each camera is able to capture 2 lanes of traffic at a time. In late 2023, the city received funding through the Board of State and Community Corrections with an organized retail theft grant. This opportunity allowed us to expand the ALPR program. 6 additional fixed ALPR cameras were added to areas where patrol staff identified coverage gaps when attempting to track vehicles fleeing from crime scenes. These gaps were all along the southern border of the city. Of note, one of the cameras was permitted and installed technically in the city of Fremont to capture vehicles exiting our city eastbound on Stevenson Boulevard. This grant also allowed for in-car cameras with ALPR capability added to patrol cars. And additionally, 5 mobile ALPRs were added to speed trailers, which are rotated throughout the city. Here are a few pictures of each of those cameras. So the one on the left is the in-car camera mounted on our patrol vehicles. The center one is our typical fixed ALPR with the solar panel on top. This particular picture is taken from our central overpass location. And lastly, on the right is a mobile speed trailer that has a mounted ALPR capturing vehicles, images from the rear. This here is our current fixed ALPR camera location map. The red dots represent the initial 20 cameras, and then the green dots along Cherry and Stevenson on the southern end of the city are additional 6 fixed cameras that were installed in March of 2024. So I want to give you a little information on how this technology works. The cameras capture date, time, and location of vehicle license plates, including state information, partial plate data, and paper plates. The tech captures images and does not record video. The cameras only take images of the backs of vehicles. Therefore, no identifying occupant information is captured. There's no facial recognition technology involved, and this technology captures just objective data about vehicles and not people. When a wanted vehicle passes by an ALPR camera, an alert will notify officers and dispatch of the vehicle information and their last known location. The alerts come in through patrol vehicle laptops, also through an alert to the dispatch center. Officers also receive text alerts to their cell phones when they're outside of their vehicles. The data is proactively compared with a National Criminal Justice Information Services, or CJIS, database to determine if a vehicle is still stolen or associated to a missing person or wanted as evidence in an investigation. When an alert occurs as vehicles leave the city, this same proactive comparison occurs. Wanted vehicle information is used for investigatory purposes and often broadcasted to local agencies. Lastly, with more cases solved and increasing the awareness of the camera's presence, there is increased potential for crime deterrence. You might recognize this slide. We presented this here during Chief Arguello's 2024 annual report to council back in May. We provided a brief background overview of the program, statistics, and audits of 2024, along with the significant cases. As just a quick reminder on this slide, all metrics that you saw up here are associated with either camera activations or investigations where the system was utilized to generate investigative leads. There was a total of 364 activations where a police call for service was generated, and the system was utilized 536 times for investigative follow-up. The total number of crime reports generated just by an ALPR activation was 37, and the total number of cases generated through the use of the system was 117. The cumulative total of persons arrested, cited, or sent for complaint to the district attorney was 70, and 21 stolen vehicles were recovered with a direct correlation to ALPR usage. Our officers have conducted outstanding police work with this technology, solving an array of crimes to include homicide, robbery, and the location of missing persons. I'm going to skip forward, and this slide here was added to clarify the slip sheet provided tonight. This is merely to provide additional information. There is no change to the cost or action required. Flock Safety, our provider, has provided the option for, to extend the data retention from 30 days to 365 days at no cost to the city for our 3-year agreement we're proposing. In 2022, our Newark Police Department Policy 462, ALPR policy, was updated and reviewed by City Council to allow for the government code recommendation of ALPR data retention of 1 year. At that time, 1 year data storage was quite cost prohibitive, and a regional intelligence platform was storing data for agencies in the region. Our intent at that time was to exercise this option to access data outside that 30-day window. That platform has ceased data storage as of 2023. Newark ALPR data retention remained at our default 30-day period. Extending that data retention period to 1 year provides significant investigative value for complex crime sprees, such as those involving organized robbery crews. These types of investigations often span multiple jurisdictions and require extensive, time-consuming coordination amongst our regional partners. And lastly, due to this sensitive nature of certain crimes, such as sexual assaults, it is not uncommon for victims to delay reporting. Shorter data retention periods risk hindering suspect identification, victim statement corroboration, and the discovery of exculpatory evidence that may be critical for a thorough investigation. So with that, it is our recommendation that the City Council by resolution authorize the city manager or designee to enter a sole source subscription service agreement with technology vendor Flock Safety in the amount of $160,165 payable in the amount of $40,165 for year 1 and $60,000 per year for years 2 and 3. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
And City Manager, it's not necessary for us to approve anything to extend from the 30 days to 365, since that's already in the police procedures, I would imagine.
Correct.
Yes, it's within our policy.
The motion should include the recommended action item in the slip sheet.
Okay, excellent. Questions? Councilmember Grindal.
Yes. Thank you for the excellent presentation. I'm very, very happy to see that we're using the technology to help our citizens, to help our police officers to prevent crimes and catch criminals. So I'm happy with it, really happy about that. I had a question. Can you go back a couple slides? What is meant by the HOA? The 9 HOA cameras, is that private individuals or
Yes, sir.
complexes that have cameras?
Yes, there are several complexes within the city of Newark that have their own cameras. Right across the street, actually, is one of them. It's Civic Terrace.
And I'm sorry to
And they
interrupt.
they share their data with us. We don't share our data with them.
Obviously. And do you know if there are shopping centers that do that as well, or?
There's only one that comes to mind, but it is definitely a recommendation that we
Yeah.
make to.
So if our mall owner actually cared about preventing crime, they could put up a camera?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You also indicated that the vehicles have cameras. Is that all vehicles or a select number of vehicles?
We had enough grant funding to allocate 13 of our patrol vehicles to have these in-car cameras. So a good number of our fleet.
Good. And what are the chances of being able to get all the vehicles? Is that something we're working on?
Yes, sir, absolutely. We're looking at expanding our ALPR program to additional vehicles, and we would like to additionally potentially look for interior fixed cameras within our city as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for answering my questions and for the work you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
Vice Mayor Little?
Captain Macias, thank you so much. This is great, and my big thing I love is numbers. I love numbers, so these are great numbers. So keep it up. This is great. As you guys know, our scout trailer was stolen, and you guys were able to recover it and stuff like that, and that had all our camping stuff in it and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it. Quick question: does it record every car that goes over and every car that comes in, or like it takes a?
Yes, it's taking a individual photograph of every vehicle entering our city and exiting our city.
Interesting. Okay, good. So not just the, and why did you choose a Texas license plate in your spreadsheet versus a California one? I know, right?
Which one? That was provided by Flock.
The reason it was chosen?
I didn't choose that one.
I did notice. No, awesome. I really like the numbers, and 536 over 1 year, that's pretty wild. That's 1.23 a day. So
yeah, our officers are using this technology to the
awesome.
fullest.
So it's being actively used. So thank you so much.
Councilmember Contancio.
Yes, thank you, Captain, for your presentation. I also really appreciate the fact that this is doing so much to assist with the safety in our community. I did have a question out of curiosity, though. Do we know what the data is compared to the amount of people arrested prior to us installing the camera to now? Like, has it increased? Like, do we know the percentage?
Good question. I'd have to get back to you on the specific percentage increase of total arrests.
Okay, but thank you so much. I'm assuming that it's going to show a significant increase. Thank you.
Yes,
Councilmember Jorgens.
I appreciate the presentation. It was very informative for me. I do have a number of concerns because these cameras do collect a lot of data on residents of the city of Newark. So I guess my first kind of question is, can you talk a little bit about some of the data storage protocols to make sure that once we collect this data that it's only authorized users accessing it?
Oh, absolutely. Only authorized, trained users are able to access the data or conduct any kind of searches within the system. All of our staff is fully trained, and it is only on a need to know and right to know basis that they can access. Every time a user accesses the system, they have to acknowledge and agree to they have to show their awareness that they're agreeing to those standards.
Do we know of any jurisdictions that have had some kind of data breach with their ALPR cameras?
We actually reached out to our service provider to see if they have had any kind of data breaches, and they were not able to provide any possible data breach that has occurred within their system. I'm not sure about any other vendors other than our own vendor that we reached out to.
The flock is the one that we need to be concerned with
Yes,
in
sir.
this case. So
Yes.
I appreciate that. That is an encouraging data point. The staff report indicated that we do an internal audit of the information of the program. Does that include kind of a data protection analysis to make sure that has only been authorized users accessing this information? Is that a part of our audit?
So, yes, the audit is showing our internal usage, and it's thankfully that part of the system is in perpetuity. It shows all the way back to the beginning. It's not anything that's on a retention. We can see that audit all the way back from the beginning, and yes, it is showing just we're only seeing our own internal users.
That's really encouraging to hear too. And my concern is based on it used to be when Newark was founded in 1955, there were some police records that were held in a big metal file cabinet somewhere in the police department. And for unauthorized access, that was it was a much greater and bolder endeavor than with a lot of these digital information that we're capturing now. So I do want to make sure that we are fully set and protecting the data that we're collecting. My other questions are going to be around the sharing of the data. So we share the data that we're collecting, it says with 350 different agencies. Can you kind of break down like who those agencies are?
Yeah, we are strictly sharing data within the state of California only. We are not sharing outside the state at all. And I can do a more comprehensive breakdown of the different types of police departments versus sheriff's departments, if that's what you're
Yeah,
also.
if you have that in front of you.
I have it right here. If I
All right.
grab it. So within the state of California, we are sharing with 263 different police departments and campus police departments. We are sharing with 41 different sheriff's offices. We are sharing with 22 various agencies, state agencies, to include California CHP, special districts, education entities, fire departments, and tribal or Indian law enforcement agencies. We are sharing with 11 California district attorney's offices, and that's it for within the state.
So when we share the data with those agencies, I imagine they also share their data with a bunch of other agencies.
Yes.
So is it possible for data collected in Newark to be shared by an agency that we share it with an agency outside of the state of California or with federal authorities?
So what we mean by data sharing is they have the ability to search our data. They do not have access to our database. They are able to search our data. So they have to have specific parameters, and much like our users with their need to know and right to know, they have to have, and every time a search is conducted, they have to enter a specific associated police report number every time they conduct a search. So those are the checks and balances that are in place.
So what I'm hearing is, as a department, we're being incredibly responsible with how we're, authorizing users to access this data. Our data is being shared only, within the bounds of the state law, that it's only being shared within these specific types of agencies that can search it, and it's staying within kind of that California firewall.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
correct?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. That's really encouraging to hear. You had mentioned the HOA cameras.
Uh-huh.
do the same state laws apply to the HOA cameras?
Do the state laws in terms of?
In terms of sharing data? Can data being collected by an HOA camera be shared with authorities outside of California?
I imagine they could.
I think it might be worthwhile for us to take a look at seeing if we can put a city ordinance in place, and I don't know if we would be able to, saying if an HOA wants to have a camera that they would need to follow the same state laws that we're bound by. I think as we go forward, we can say Newark Police Department, seems like you're being incredibly responsible and professional using this data to, for, pretty impressive crime solving data. But, as we look at ALPRs throughout the city of Newark, we have to look at some of these cameras are not, as a part of our city's contract here. And if there's data being collected by ALPR cameras in the city of Newark, I think we should look into whether we can make sure that it's all following the state law.
As to that issue, Mr. Benoon, I'm not sure if that's something we need to look at in terms of adopting an ordinance at this point in time, or whether or not that's more of a legal question for our city attorney to investigate as to whether or not the city can draft an ordinance regulating the use of cameras on private property.
I would say I would like the city attorney to look at it and come back to us with an
Right.
ordinance later on. Because it may be the case that they are bound by the same state laws that as a city we are. But I would something that with some kind of urgency that we look at to make sure that data collected in Newark stays within the kind of bounds of that we're holding ourselves to.
I would invite our city attorney to make some comments.
Yeah, I could certainly take a look at that. My instinct is that if a private party has a ALPR similar to a Ring camera or anything else, and they capture video footage or a photograph, they're pretty much free to do whatever they want with it. That's my instinct.
I would think that an HOA as an organization is different than an individual.
A private
Yeah.
entity, same thing would be a private entity, a private business that has like security cameras, for instance, they're free to put it on the web or do whatever they want with it. But we can certainly look at that. I want to make sure that I have accurate information.
So again, so the question for the council is do we want to ask our city attorney to do a legal research on this issue as to whether or not HOAs are required to comply with state law as articulated by Councilmember Jorgens? Is there a majority of the council that like to have that issue investigated?
Just a clarifying question? I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Oh, I wanted to know if you wanted this as a motion?
Not
or-
as a motion this evening, because I don't want to make a motion before we get legal analysis on it.
Okay.
But
So-
sometime for it to come back to us.
I would like to also, though, add to that request that if we are going to look into this issue, to also review retroactive activity, because if we already have HOA cameras, then it's not necessarily from this point on, but also retroactively, if we could go back to those and have them comply with an ordinance if an ordinance is written.
Mr. Grindal?
Yes, my clarifying question was for Councilmember Jorgens. I thought he asked if it was possible for us to pass an ordinance that restricted those. And so
That is my question. I don't want to pass the ordinance tonight.
No, I understand.
And then come back later and
But
find
I
out
just
that
want-
we
I
weren't
just
able
want
to
to
do
clarify
that.
but
But yes.
that's part of the request.
I would like to see an ordinance come forward that brings all usages of these cameras, which collect an enormous amount of data, that everything happening in Newark is kind of bound by that same standard that I think, as we heard today, really goes a long way in, protecting that data.
And I'm okay with the request. I'm simply suggesting that we break it into two different action items. The first action item will be the city attorney to do the legal research on this issue, come back and provide council with input on that, and then we, the council, can determine as a whole whether or not we want to proceed with an ordinance, should that research show that we, the city, could adopt an ordinance restricting the use of HOA information similar to what's defined in state law. Okay?
Is that first?
Yes, the legal research response first.
So if you need a motion, I'll move that.
I think just a show
legal
of hands
research.
on this, I think it's
pretty
fine.
clear
Is there
council's
support for this?
direction, yeah.
Okay, it seems like there's support, city attorney, for you just simply to do the legal research. We'll come back, have that question answered, and then we'll, if the council then decides that we want to proceed with an ordinance, I think at that point, we can provide the city manager with direction as to what we'd like that ordinance to include.
And I apologize, I do have one question
No.
directly on what we're discussing today. So we're working with flock safety. The data belongs to the city of Newark, so my intuition would be that flock safety would not be able to share our data, is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Right,
That
so
is-
again, the only authorized users of this is going to be law enforcement agencies in California, nothing federal, nothing dealing with immigration.
That's right, sir.
Okay.
And I appreciate Councilmember Jorgen's comments, because some of that information is new to me as well. So what I'm hearing from Councilmember Jorgens is that the current state law forbids us, I would imagine, then to share this information with the FBI.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All righty.
Your Honor,
Yes.
if I may, I just wanted to speak briefly about the data security issues, and I want to make sure that we're clear as to what we're discussing when we talk about the data. And invite the captain to correct me if I'm wrong. The cameras, the way that they're set up, they don't collect any personal identifying information. In other words, the cameras take still shots of the vehicles and the license plates.
That's right.
The cameras do not go above and beyond and then pull data automatically, such as the registered owner of the vehicle. That type of connecting those dots, that only occurs if there's some sort of law enforcement investigation, correct?
That's right. No personal identifying information.
And I will say, my concerns are about, I think an enterprising federal law enforcement agency could probably connect those dots.
Right.
So it is, important that as a police department, we're being as responsible as we are with our data. And that, there is a firewall of California that is can only be accessed by these specific non-federal, non-immigration agencies.
Excellent report as always.
Thank you, sir.
Unfortunately, we're never going to have enough police officers to do the work that our community expects. And any new technology that we can incorporate to make our officers responsive and safe in the community, we're certainly going to support that. I only had one question. I love the trailers. I see them all over town. Does the trailer reflect, hopefully, a decrease in the speed as cars approach the trailer? So if the trailer is registering that the speed limit is 35 and someone is going 47, as they approach the trailer and it shows that they're now going 30, do we collect that data to show the cars are actually taking it seriously and reducing their speed?
Yeah, the speed trailers have a whole different set of data collection and reporting that it does, managed by the traffic division. But yes, all that data is able to be accessed.
Great. Maybe, Chief, the next time we see this report, Mr. Ben-Noon, I'd love to hear more about that opportunity that the trailers are actually encouraging people to reduce their speed now that they know what the posted speed is for that particular street. And secondly, again, I understand that the technology in terms of the clarity of the photos that are being taken are sufficient for our purposes, but I certainly want to reach out to you and the city manager as technology improves, and if we see opportunities to improve that technology through a different acquisition moving forward, certainly don't hesitate to bring that to us for consideration. Any other questions or comments? If not, this is...
I'm sorry, I do have one more question.
Okay.
I know, love me. Quick question, when do you need to have confirmation or denial of this? Like, when do you have to have this contract ready to go? Is this just a renewal?
This is a renewal. Our contract expires on October 30th.
All right, of this year?
Yes.
Oh.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to this item? If not, I'll look for a motion, and as you make the motion, please incorporate the information that was provided to us to extend the time period for retention from 30 days to 1 year. Made by Vice Mayor Little.
I'll second.
Second.
By Councilmember Grindal. Please vote. And that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Outstanding report. There was no doubt. Back, at least on my calendar here, to item F1, is to an ordinance adding Chapter 15.60 Art in Public Places and Private Development, and an ordinance adding Chapter 2.14 Public Art Committee to the Newark Municipal Code. Mr. Benoon.
Yes, good evening, Your Honor, and members of the council. As the council is aware, last year the council approved an update to the city's public art master plan. Tonight, staff will be recommending that the council introduce two ordinances that would implement the plan. The first ordinance establishes a public art committee to guide the implementation of our art in our community. The second ordinance establishes an art in public places requirement for new development. Assuming the council accepts staff's recommendation, then staff will return at a future council meeting with recommended city guidelines that would implement the art in public places requirement. We believe this is an exciting opportunity as a new and vibrant art program will help us better connect with our community. Before I turn it over to staff, I'd like to publicly acknowledge and thank city staff who worked tirelessly on this initiative. This was the product of cross-department collaboration and a considerable amount of time behind the scenes, so I thank all of you for your tremendous work on this effort. And in the spirit of this collaboration, we have three speakers from city staff who will present this item jointly to our council this evening. And the first speaker tonight is our Recreation Supervisor, Ms. Jasenia Taimani. Ms. Taimani, you have the floor.
Hello, friends. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. As City Manager Benoon mentioned, this was a team effort, so I am excited to be presenting alongside Recreation and Community Services Director, Mr. Cuevas, and Strategic Initiatives Manager, Ms. Gonzalez. I'd like to start off by giving a quick overview of the agenda for this evening. We are providing a public art master plan update and jumping into the reason why we are here tonight. And that is to introduce an ordinance that would establish a public art committee, as well as introducing an ordinance that would formalize the art in public places and private development program. We'll walk you through the anticipated program expenses, next steps in the process, provide our staff recommendations, and open up the floor to your questions. So let's get started, and let me provide a little bit of background. In 2022, Council approved an update to the original 2001 Public Art Master Plan. On June 13th of 2024, the Public Art Master Plan update was presented and approved by Council. This updated plan was rooted in the vision that all residents and visitors in Newark experience public art as a part of their daily lives and throughout all neighborhoods, celebrating the city's history, people, natural environment, and culture. And to really bring this vision to life, the plan focused on these 5 themes. Identity and civic pride, which is using public art as a way to set Newark apart. Oh, just kidding. Accessibility and public education, to build a strong program of community education and outreach and ensuring public art is accessible for the enjoyment of all. Local artists allows the opportunity to support and increase the visibility of Newark-based artists and creative entrepreneurs. Administration and collection management is to ensure that we have the right teams and systems in place for the ongoing management and stewardship of the Public Art Master Plan. Funding is to ensure that the Public Art Fund has sufficient dollars to support public art and other art initiatives. Since the adoption of the plan, staff has been working on key recommendations with the support of our consultants, Art Builds Community. I do want to highlight that Amanda Rawson and Barbara Goldstein are burning the midnight oil and are here with us this evening to support all things public art. And I did want to touch on local artists because that's been really the theme that I've enjoyed the most. Being able to invite Adrienne Diedick up here to accept that proclamation really brought so much joy and excitement for her. And being able to highlight the Newark Artists Open Studios event is just the beginning of our collaborations with our public artists. We've also had the privilege of working on a few projects with other local artists. One of those projects was actually prompted when City Council adopted a resolution highlighting Newark's commitment to enhancing its cultural fabric by supporting and celebrating its multi-ethnic diversity, which includes newcomers and immigrants. Andrew Medina designed this beautiful piece of art, reaffirming Newark as a welcoming city, and we are working on sharing this amazing art piece with our broader community. We've also been able to work with local artists Gordon Huther and Jessica Sobogal on the Old Town Streetscape Capital Improvement Project. Gordon is working on our gateway and Jessica is working on our tree grates. We are close to the completion of the design phases on these projects, and we will share more when the time comes. However, I can share that these artists have been very intentional with learning who Newark is. They're exploring our history, learning our story, and really weaving our identity into their artwork. And as we continue to celebrate Newark's identity through these public art projects, it's just as important to create the framework to sustain this work for the years to come. And that brings us to the next item on our agenda. Tonight, staff is recommending City Council on 2 key recommendations from the Public Art Master Plan. We'll be going over both of these in more detail throughout tonight's presentation. First, we're recommending Council to adopt Chapter 2.14, which creates a Public Art Committee to guide the implementation and promote public art in the city. Second, we're recommending the adoption of Chapter 12.36, which formalizes the public art requirement for development in our Art in Public Places and Private Development program. It is at this time that I'd like to invite Mr. Cuevas to give you a closer look at the first ordinance, the Public Art Committee, and its role in shaping the future of public art here in Newark.
Thank you, Ms. Taimani, and good evening, Your Honor and members of the City Council. This evening, I will cover the proposed Public Art Committee Ordinance, Chapter 2.14. The Public Art Committee serves as the guiding body for Newark's public art program. Its purpose is to provide oversight, transparency, and strategic direction, ensuring that our public art efforts are well managed and reflect the goals of the Public Art Master Plan. The objective is to implement projects identified in the plan and ensure we're bringing high-quality, meaningful art to the city of Newark. In addition to these guiding principles, the committee will have several key responsibilities. They will, 1, establish and approve the public art program's mission, goals, and policies. They will review and act on recommendations for public art fund projects, approve maintenance, conservation, and decession recommendations, as well as the acceptance of artwork, gifts, or loans. They will also develop and update the public art work plan that identifies specific projects and locations and budgets. They will also serve as advocates for the city's public art program and help build community awareness and support, advise and assist the City Council on public art matters as needed. Now that we've covered the committee's purpose and responsibilities, let's take a look at this, at its composition, who will serve on it, and what types of experience we're hoping to bring to the table. Sorry, I just gotta move this over. Okay, the Public Art Committee would consist of 5 members appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the City Council. Membership is open to art professionals, nonprofit representatives, Newark Memorial High School students, and community members with a passion for the arts. The goal is to include a well-rounded group that brings different perspectives and creativity to the table. In terms of service, each member will serve a 4-year term, but the initial appointments will be staggered. 2 members will serve 2-year terms, and 3 will serve a 4-year term to help maintain continuity as the committee gets established. Once established, the Public Art Committee will set the time and place for its regular meetings and meetings will be open to the public as well. The committee may also meet more frequently as needed to review projects or conduct other business related to its responsibilities. Now that I've covered the committee, how the committee is structured, let's take a look at the roles and responsibilities it will have in guiding Newark's public art program. The Public Art Committee will play a key role in both private and public art projects by advising city staff, the Planning Commission, and the City Council on proposed projects. Staff will also provide regular updates to keep the City Council informed of the committee's activities and progress on its overall work plan. When a private developer chooses to install on-site art instead of contributing to the Public Art Fund, the Public Art Committee will serve in an advisory and oversight capacity. Their role is to ensure the proposed artwork meets all public art ordinance requirements, including verifying that the pieces represent at least 1% of the project valuation, that the artist is also independent and not part of the project's design team, and that the art is placed in a publicly visible and accessible location. The committee will also review the artist's qualifications, the proposed site, and the overall design concept to confirm the project's, the committee will also review the artist's qualifications, the proposed site, and the overall design concepts to confirm the project aligns with Newark's public art goals and identity. In addition, the committee will ensure a detailed maintenance and conservation plan is developed to support the long-term care and preservation of the artwork on private developments. If a developer disagrees with the final decision by the committee regarding the artwork, artist, or site location, the decision may be appealed to the City Council within 10 days of the committee's decision. For city projects, the committee will develop and update the public artwork plan and report progress to the City Council. The committee will review and select artists or artworks for city projects and provide feedback on the conceptual design and details of selected installations to ensure they reflect Newark's identity and, again, align with the public art master plan. With these responsibilities defined, the next slide outlines the process for forming the public art committee. If council approves the public art committee ordinance tonight, the second reading will take place on November 13th, and the ordinance would take effect in 30 days later. During that time, staff will begin advertising and accepting applications for the committee. Working with the city clerk's office, we plan to attentively open applications in November and December, conduct interviews in January, and bring forward appointments in February of 2026. I do want to note that during this time of the application period is open, there's not a specified end time for those applications, so we know it's during the holiday period. So if we are seeing a smaller amount of people applying, we're going to boost, again, our social media and outreach methods to make sure that we're capturing everyone that potentially could apply. Next, the inaugural committee meeting is anticipated for March or April, with the committee's first order of business being the launch of the utility box art program, which has already generated strong community excitement. Next, we'll move into chapter 12.36, Art in Public Places and Private Development, which outlines how public art will be integrated into private projects throughout Newark. At this time, I would like to welcome Ms. Gonzalez. We'll be covering the next section this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Cuevas. Good evening, Your Honor, members of the City Council. This evening, I will cover the proposed Art in Public Places and Private Development Ordinance, Chapter 12.36. The proposed ordinance will formalize the city's public art requirement and update the fee structure for in lieu contributions. Currently, the city has a complex and outdated fee structure established by a resolution in 1992. During the development of the Public Art Master Plan update in 2024, it became clear that the public art requirement needed to be, revised, and was therefore included as a recommendation in the plan. The proposed ordinance requires a 1% public art contribution from developers with eligible projects. The contribution can be made by installing public art on site in an amount equal to 1% of the construction valuation, or by contributing an in lieu amount to the Public Art Fund. The 1% public art would apply to all new residential developments, new non-residential developments, and tenant improvements of $500,000 or more. Residential alterations, affordable housing projects, and tenant improvements below $500,000 would be exempt. In addition, projects that have received entitlement or deemed complete at the time this ordinance goes into effect would be subject to the fees established in the 1992 resolution. On the next slide, I will review how the recommendations tonight compare to the other Alameda County cities. The public art requirement across the county varies. There are 9 cities with public art requirements, and I will review the details on the following slide. While San Leandro and Hayward do not currently have public art requirements, both cities have recently discussed establishing this requirement. During preliminary presentations to their council, a 1% requirement was used as an example. Nothing official has been proposed, but staff have been directed to conduct further analysis and return to their respective councils. Piedmont and Pleasanton have no public art requirement. However, Pleasanton does have an ordinance that states that developers are strongly encouraged to provide public art or make contributions. Now let's take a look at how these cities' fees compare to the recommendations this evening. On the screen is a simplified chart in the county of those cities that do have a public art requirement. There are many nuances with each city. However, I wanted to point out a few items. First, I wanted to point out, while Fremont does have a fee, it was not included on this list. The structure of the public art requirement in Fremont is quite complex. There are different ordinances for different districts and different public art funds, but essentially it is a per square footage requirement dependent on the district. All public art requirements have an option to either install or pay the contribution in lieu amount. All cities include new residential development. Many do have a minimum unit threshold. At this time, staff do not anticipate by not having this threshold that it would negatively impact development in Newark, as the majority of our residential projects are larger in nature. All cities include a public art requirement for new non-residential development, and some have a threshold for tenant improvements or non-residential alterations. City staff feel that by implementing a $500,000 threshold, this will encourage small businesses to reinvest in their businesses in Newark. Staff did contact the Newark Chamber of Commerce to discuss the impact on the business community, and the Chamber Board of Directors fully supports this proposed ordinance, citing the benefits of public art in Newark. Understanding how the neighboring jurisdictions structure their public art requirement helped inform Newark's approach this evening. The proposed ordinance establishes a framework for public art in Newark. This slide shows a representation of potential expenditures for the Public Art Fund. Ongoing annual costs primarily go towards program administration, covering both staff and consultant time. Responsibilities include serving as a liaison to the Public Art Committee, managing revenue and expenditures, reviewing RFQs, proposals, contracts, overseeing community outreach, and supporting project implementation. Consultants will provide specialized expertise and staff support as needed. The maintenance costs on the chart on this slide only represent, or for illustrative purposes only, the maintenance costs will depend greatly on the type of art installed in Newark. The second table shows potential projects and estimated costs. The utility art box program, as Mr. Cuevas mentioned earlier, will be the first project implemented by the Public Art Committee. Beyond this initial program, the fund could support a variety of other projects, including monuments and gateways, sculptures, temporary light shows, and murals, all projects that were identified in the Public Art Master Plan. You'll see large ranges in the estimated cost because it depends, again, on the scope of the project. A simple mural could cost $5,000, and a larger, more complex one could be $50,000 or more. Having reviewed the structure of the public art requirement and the potential expenses for the program, let's go over the next steps if council approves this ordinance this evening. As mentioned a few times tonight, City Council guidelines will be developed and presented to Council for consideration in December. These guidelines will outline the program procedures for developers as they come in with potential projects in Newark. Staff will work on updating internal processes, communicating the changes to staff, evaluating applications, checklists, and documents, and then changing any forms, both electronically and our physical forms. We will also develop outreach materials so that as these project applicants come in, it is clear on what the process is. FAQs will create an Art in Public Places section on the city website and include any information on the city newsletter. And with that, staff's recommendation this evening is to waive the full reading and introduce by title only an ordinance adding Chapter 2.14 Public Art Committee to Title II of the Newark Municipal Code, and waive the full reading and introduce by title only an ordinance adding Chapter 12.36 Art in Public Places and Private Development to Title 12 of the Newark Municipal Code. Thank you very much. And with that, the three of us are available for any questions.
Great. Before I ask my colleagues questions, I'm going to turn it over to the audience. Any questions from our folks that are here on this item? No? I'll turn it to my colleagues for questions, comments. Councilmember Grindal?
Sure. I have a number of questions, sorry. So first of all, I noted in the staff report and the ordinance that affordable housing projects, 100% affordable housing projects would be exempt. I strongly believe that whatever percentage of a project is affordable, 50%, 80, 20%, that portion should not pay the fee. So we want to do what we can to support affordable housing. So instead of just having 100% being the only ones that don't pay, I strongly think we should adjust that to be based on what percentage of the units are affordable. That's more of a comment than a question. But did I misunderstand the existing ordinance?
That you understood it correctly.
Great, thank you. So as was alluded, I'm not sure which of the triumvirate did that, but it was alluded to things like tree grates and so on and so forth are considered public art in this case, and I strongly support that. I really I think it's very interesting and whimsical when places have bike racks that have particular art shape, or they have the tree grates that have an art element, or even benches or transit shelters, things like that. So I think just want to make sure I understand that kind of functional art is permitted, and it'd be up to the committee to decide.
Absolutely. That was one of the things that came out of the Public Art Master Plan, is we expanded beyond just murals and paintings to include things like that.
Right. And in that light, this is a large impact on projects. This is a lot of money. So given that, I think we should include also the possibility of performing venues or museums as things we could fund through this program. So I think having a gallery or a pop-up gallery or something like that, and not necessarily outdoors, I think should be an eligible use of these funds. There's a couple places in the ordinance where it talks about it being outdoors. They might only be in the public. It might only be in the private. I'm not sure. I got a little confused when I read it. So I do think that we should we should allow the use of these funds to do indoor exhibits as well, as long as they're open to the public. Obviously, if a manager of a warehouse wants to put a Picasso on his wall, that doesn't count. So I just want to bring that forward, and perhaps my biggest concern is it's unclear what role the committee would have when it comes to actually allocating money for these projects. It's in some places, in one place it says, at least in the staff report, it says approve a recommendation or approve recommendation. So is this committee going to be allocating monies? And if so, I don't think it's a good idea. I think that they should be able to recommend to the council, but the council should be actually budgeting monies for anything that's spent. So maybe you can answer that question, and I've already showed you how I feel about it.
Sure. The Public Art Committee will have two separate roles for private development. It sounds like you're clear on private development, their role. For the public projects, the Public Art Committee will develop a work plan, an annual work plan with recommended projects. We think it's a good idea to put a sculpture on the corner of Newark Boulevard in Thornton, and we would like to budget $200,000 for this project. Any budget item will be the council's.
So that
will require council approval.
That $200,000 for a statue on the corner a recommendation to the council that we would then approve.
You would have to approve, the council would have to approve any budget allocation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
That's
was that
all.
at Mayhew's Landing and Ponderosa Court? Is that what you were suggesting?
No.
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
I'm sorry, let me.
Although you would have to
sorry. I wanna make
recuse
sure-
in that case.
Yes, there you go, that's right.
Yeah.
Forget it. Councilor Grindal, were you done with your questions, my friend?
That is all.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor?
So 2 questions. On one thing that kind of caught my eye a little bit, we may want to keep an eye on is forming the committee. You want people who have interest in that, of course, but what if, I'm just saying, let's say there was a sculptor who was on the committee, could they recommend their art? That's just a little bit of a red flag. I see it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, I just see that could be hey, by the way, this is awesome. Oh, look, I just happen to be doing this. We should vote yes. Okay, good. My second question, this might be to the police officers as well. Have we noticed, if we do all these drawings and all these murals and stuff like this, is there a reduced chance of graffiti going over it? Because, I've kind of heard that if you put up nice art, graffiti doesn't seem to be a situation.
I can,
There's all 3 departments that could answer that.
I'm just going to say, in my experience during the development of the public art master plan, it is sort of known in the artist community that they look at their graffiti as art, and so they're less likely to tag murals. I don't have any data to back that up, but that's what is commonly known amongst the art community.
Okay.
Do you have anything you'd like to add to that, Chief?
No, we would concur. In speaking to other agencies that have public art and have put up murals, they see a decrease in the graffiti in those spaces.
Okay, thank you.
If you don't mind,
Yes.
Just wanted to indicate, we have had problems with bronze sculptures being damaged and stolen, so make sure you write on the base, this is not worth anything, don't steal it.
No, it's worth a lot.
But anyway, I didn't put it, we have had problems, even though you're not supposed to hear about this kind of thing happening. This isn't just a vandal, this is someone who thinks that the fiberglass sculpture is actually worth something, and they cut it down. So did want to bring that forward.
Thank you.
Councilmember Contaccio?
Yes. Thank you so much for your presentation. I really do enjoy the arts, and so I think this is a great idea. I am a little curious, though, if we can also incorporate, in addition to the high school students, as was mentioned, to actively attempt to have high school students, can we also look into the senior community as well, so that we could also have another perspective? I know with different ages, I think that the diversity will really help us to really represent our community. Thank you.
Yes, and while it's not specifically called out, it is open to any community member that has a passion for the arts, and we will certainly be sure to advertise at the senior center.
Great, thank you.
I do want to highlight something real quickly. We were actually discussing this at the senior center. Me and Nick were in conversation, and we had 2 participants in our program advocating for their wives to be a part of the committee. They said they are phenomenal artists, and please give us the information as soon as it's available. So I think we can have that senior community represented for sure.
Great.
It's always easy to volunteer the wife.
Mr. Mayor, if I could comment on that as well.
Sure. Let me see if Councilmember Contaccio, any further questions?
No, you're on.
Councilmember Grindal?
Yes, it's related to that comment. I've been involved with this in the past in other cities, and it's common on this kind of a committee to have it be from 5 to 7 to allow those kinds of issues to come up. If it's desired for the council to add members, because let's say there's a diversity of applicants, it gives, without having to change the ordinance, it gives the council a chance to have the members add additional members to create that kind of diversity. So I just wanted to bring that forward.
That's a good suggestion, to give us that flexibility. I'm okay with that recommendation.
I wanted to just point out, I believe the ordinance states a minimum of 5, so I think it does allow for that flexibility.
Yes, I agree with that as well. I think having flexibility there is going to be important. I share Councilmember Grindal's concerns about some of the fee preventing affordable developments. Would, as a council, if a project came before us that was heavily but not universally affordable, would we be able to waive the fee or drop the fee in a case?
That's correct, council. There is a provision in the ordinance that allows council to waive either partially or wholly the entire public art fee.
I still might want to see something like Councilmember Grindal described, where, you know, if you have a 100% affordable project, you have, 100% waived. If you have a 50% affordable, 50% waived. I might start that at 20% if someone's doing like a 5% affordable project. I don't know if we need to, they can do a little bit more on their end to bring affordable housing to Newark. So I might start at like a 20% threshold. So something like that, I think, would be something I could support. But thinking about the committee, so the staff report noted that committee's open to, and it listed a bunch of different places of folks that we think would be good additions to the community. Is it common practice for cities, when they establish these sorts of committees, to reserve certain spots for, okay, we have one spot that's always going to be for a nonprofit member, one spot that's always going to be for a professional artist? Or is it more commonly practiced that it's open and there's an understanding that as council, when we approve the nominations for the committee, that we are looking for a broad amount of experience?
It's the latter. It's not common to specifically reserve seats for specific members of the committee, but it is something that should be looked at during the application and appointment process. It is best practices to have a wide variety and a diverse committee.
All right, and then my next question is kind of about the time window for getting this started. I think the timeline in the staff report saying, an application window from November to December. To be honest, I don't really think that's sufficient to get the applications. We're not looking for one application. We're looking for, 5 to 7 very qualified people, which is going to probably be over a lot of applications. So I would prefer to keep that open through at least mid-January so we can do some outreach on both sides of the new year and make sure that it really is able to go out to the community and we're not trying to be in a time crunch on it.
Yeah, I apologize if it wasn't clear in the staff report. We will be opening it in November, December timeframe. There's no end date. We will certainly keep it open through mid-January to make sure that we are able to receive a number of applications.
Okay, and then can you talk about the outreach that the city's going to do to make sure that folks who are would be qualified applicants know about the application process and are able to submit their application?
Well, we will be dropping off flyers at the senior center and reaching out to the school district, posting on our social medias. We will work with our communications team to develop an outreach program to make sure that anybody who's interested in applying for the Public Art Committee is aware of the opportunity. During the Public Art Master Plan community outreach, we also developed quite a list of local artists, as you met one of them earlier this evening, and so we will utilize that list as well.
I appreciate that. And then just 2 comments.
Sure.
First, it says that we're looking for it to kind of be, we're not setting a strict calendar for it. I think eventually it might be good once we have the committee established that the committee itself can establish, for example, quarterly meetings. I think that's always better to have kind of a set meeting. I think it shows seriousness that, this is something that we do care about and are going to have it set on a calendar. But that's not something that this evening I think we need to amend or add that to the ordinance. I think that's something that the committee can determine amongst themselves. And then we did note that we are looking for, diversity of ages, that we are looking for students and younger people to, be a part of this process. I think it's going to be tough on a 4-year term to attract students. I think not right away, but as we get settled, we get a feel for, hey, who's applying? If we are missing that group, it might be worthwhile to add a 1 or 2 year seat reserved for a local student, a Loney, one of the local schools that could provide that input from the youth perspective without being tied into a 4-year term. So I think let's get it established first before we start trying to change problems that haven't come up yet. But I think that is something we should think about.
That's a great point, and we will make a note of that. Thank you.
Thank you for the excellent report. You mentioned the letter that I'm assuming the entire council, Mr. Benoon, received the letter of support from the Chamber of Commerce?
Correct. The Chamber Executive Director sent that to all members of the
Great.
council.
Let's make sure we include a copy of that letter in this report so that we know that that was done. I agree with Councilmember Jorgens when it comes to the high school students that maybe we consider even a one-year term, two-year term, because it's going to be difficult to get longer than that, and we certainly want their input. I really love the artwork by Mr. Medina, and I love our electronic billboards around our city. I'd love to see Mr. Medina's artwork shown up on our billboard on a sporadic basis, just so that people driving around Newark or on the heading to the bridge see that this is who this community is. It's a beautiful piece of art. It says that we're a welcoming community. If we can show that periodically on our electronic board, that would be greatly appreciated and would certainly recognize his contribution to our community. The 1% fee that's being paid by the developers, is that paid, Mr. Benoon, at the time that the development is approved or when the building permit is issued?
That is an excellent question, and that will be incorporated as part of the guidelines in the city council guidelines. That will include the procedures. It is yet to be determined at what point, but likely it'll be at the time building permit.
Great, I support that because we just approved a 300,000 plus project. And I'd certainly like to capitalize on that 1% for that. That would be greatly appreciated. I want to thank you, Mr. Benoon. You know, we're a small community, and we continue to really work at a significant pace to develop projects. I mean, City Hall, police station, fire station, resource center. Coupled with the fact, as we've known, that we dealt with the COVID situation, we dealt with the housing crisis. And, you know, some community members might think, you know, this has been, you know, kind of languishing, you know, for a number of years. But you know what? At some point, you know, you pick up the ball and you move forward, and that's what we're doing. We're picking up that ball and moving forward. So, you know, real kudos to you. It would be easy for this to simply sit on the back burner, as it has been for the last, you know, number of decades. But you know, you and your staff took the foresight to say, you know, we need to move forward on this, and greatly appreciate that. Any idea, Ms. Gonzalez, with this 1%, if you can forecast over the next 5 years, what would we anticipate our public art fund to be roughly? Any idea?
It's a really difficult figure to come up with, partially because developers do have the opportunity to install public art in their development and therefore not contributing towards the public art fund. If we look at projected development, Nick, do you have the figure?
And or just total valuation, whether they contribute or they do the art themselves. Do we have a fair, you know, an estimate as over the next 5 years we would anticipate the valuation of public art in the city will be X?
Yeah, so just to kind of mention, as Mrs. Gonzalez mentioned, that it's kind of difficult to challenge, but some of the process that we did in some research was we looked at the Bayside development, which had some housing, and based on the public art fee that they paid, which was $270 per house that they were constructing, where now that fee would be charged on that construction value of those homes. And so we looked at that price, and based on all the houses that we looked at, just on that one project alone could almost brought in $1 million. And so
I would anticipate that the restructuring of the fee is going to bring in a significant amount of money in the city over the next number of years, giving us great latitude to outstanding art in our community. Unless there's no other questions, we have a couple items that we need to go ahead and approve. Are there any last minute questions? Okay, can I get motions to approve? Can we handle the city attorney?
Do we want to discuss changing the fee on the affordable housing unit?
Well, I think staff heard the recommendation, and I certainly supported that. Mr. Gonzalez's suggestion that depending upon the percentage of affordability, that we look at reducing that fee. And I'll let staff come back with a recommendation as to what that might be. It may be a certain minimum, as you suggested, but let staff, they hear the direction from the council that we'd like to see some modification on that fee when there's affordability in the development.
I can include it as part of a motion and to provide clarity.
Do you want them to kind of flush that out and come back with recommendations? What would you suggest, Mr.
I'll leave it
Mayor?
up to them.
Well, I think there's two options for the council to consider this evening. One option would be to introduce the two ordinances as presented with further direction to come back with the city council guidelines and include the suggested edits that the council just discussed. The second option would be to not take any action this evening and come back in November with the changes included in the ordinance as discussed by the council. And staff is amenable to either of those two routes.
I think we should go with the first recommendation. This has been kind of sitting on the books. Let's move forward. So
I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable voting on this with just it being in the guidelines. I think we should make these changes as part of the ordinance. I'm perfectly fine with it continuing it to our next meeting if that's. So I'll move to continue it to incorporate the council's comments.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, let's
You
go
want
ahead
to
and
date
vote.
certain so you don't have to renotice it?
No, there's been no noticing on this. It's
Okay.
not a public hearing. I don't know if formal action is truly
We don't
necessary,
agree.
but
I'm going to put yes.
I guess, yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
No.
All right, all voted? And that count. You're a yes on that, Mr. Grindal? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and adopt Mr. Grindal's request and ask you to bring that back with the guidelines.
sure. We will aim to have this before the council on November 15th. It'll guidelines as well as the two ordinances as modified as discussed this evening.
Great. Thank you for that. Great presentation. We love art. The next item is city manager updates. City manager.
Yes, good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. We have 5 updates for you this evening. First, tomorrow, you trust. Let's see. All right. The first event that we have, or notification for you this evening, Floating Pumpkin Patch. This is tomorrow, Friday, October 24th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. at our Silliman Activity Center. The cost is $10 for residents, $13 for non-residents. You can register online. And this is Get Ready for a Splash-tacular Twist on a fall favorite. Join us for our Floating Pumpkin Patch and Silent Floating Pumpkin Patch events, where pumpkins aren't picked from a field, they're floating in the pool. And then right before the 6:30 event, we do have the Silent Splash Floating Pumpkin Patch, and this is programming for our adaptive. It's an adaptive floating pumpkin patch where participants can swim among pumpkins, enjoy sensory play, and celebrate fall in a fun, inclusive setting. And again, more information on how to register is on our website. Third event, we do have a free document shredding event. This is Saturday, October 25th from 9 a.m. to noon over at the city's corporate yard located on Filbert Street. This is an opportunity for residents and business owners to come to our center on a first-come, first-served basis. Proof of residency is required, and go ahead and drop off up to 2 standard banker boxes per household or per business to be destroyed. And again, that is Saturday, October 25th, and no reservations are necessary. Fourth announcement, hot off the press, fall edition of the Flavors of Newark Restaurant Guide. The fall edition of the Flavors of Newark Restaurant Guide is now available in hard copy and online on the city's website. The restaurant guide highlights Newark's many eateries and our diverse cuisines. It's your go-to resource for discovering new favorites. And if you can't decide where you want to eat, go ahead and have some fun and spin the wheel, and the wheel will tell you the type of cuisine you should dine. Copies of the edition were distributed at the Newark Days Informational Fair, and copies have been delivered to all Newark hotels for use by hotel guests, and copies are available in the lobbies of all of our city facilities. And of course, the guide is available online as well. And last but not least, we have Fishing in the City. Join the City of Newark's Recreation, Community Services, and Public Works teams for a morning of fishing. Youth between the ages of 5 to 15 will learn basic instruction on knot tying, casting, and fish handling techniques. and that is Saturday, November 8th from 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. over at the Boathouse at Lake Shore Park. The cost is free to all of our residents, and for those of you who are wondering, the species of fish that will be stocked at the lake is catfish. And that concludes our announcements this evening.
I have a question.
Sure.
For this one here, you said free to Newark residents. Do we charge a fee for non-Newark residents, or do we not allow them to show up?
This event is actually open to everyone, and so Newark residents and others.
I have 3 comments. Thank you for the excellent report. Outstanding work by economic development folks, and I would certainly love it as we continue to work with our in trying to encourage our residents to shop Newark, if we could reach out to these restaurants and see if there's an opportunity for Newark residents to get a modest discount, whether it be 5%, 10%, whatever the case may be, if they either bring in the book or whatever the case may be, just to encourage folks to participate. Secondly, we're dealing with really challenging economic times, and I know that $10 is not a lot for some of us, but $10 for a family that's poor, that want to participate in the pumpkin splash and these other events. Do we set aside money at the community center for folks that would love to have their children participate, but simply can't afford it, even at $10?
Yes, so the Recreation and Community Services Department has a robust scholarship program, which the individual would be, if qualified, they can get a lump sum of about $350 a year, and then they could use those funds to pay for classes such as the pumpkin patch, or they can buy a membership or another class.
Great. Great. Let's make sure we get that. I know you do a great job over there, Mr. Cuevas, with the parks folks, but, as I heard from the community tonight, I didn't know, they didn't know, we do the best we can to try to get the word out to the community about all these benefits that are available. So sometimes you just got to continue to repeat ourselves in terms of these benefits are available, and we'd certainly encourage residents to take that opportunity. So, thank you for that. I'll start down at my far end, Councilmember Contancio.
Thank you for today's meeting. I had the opportunity to go to an event with Alameda County Water District this past week, learning how to plant drought-friendly succulents. And so it was really a great event where we also filled out different surveys to determine what type of plant we would be. And it turns out I would be a fern. Nevertheless, that was a great event. I also was able to attend Asian Pacific American Caucus, also representing Newark as well, and the AVA board meeting. And so for AVA, I did want to announce that we are still doing drawings of names to have reimbursements of up to $500 or more for electric bikes. And so you could always submit your name, and then if your name is pulled, then you would get that reimbursement. Additionally, I will be celebrating Filipino American History Month this Saturday at Itlong Bear Cruise, where I'm going to be a guest speaker along with Supervisor Marquez and Senator Wahab and many other elected officials as well from 10:30 to 12 o'clock. And so also please remember this week and all other weeks to please continue to shop Newark. Thank you.
Councilmember Jorgens.
Yes, I'll finish the comment I was going to say as we don't take that I do want to see it coming forward again, as that I don't want to see it. City manager, I think I've talked to you about this plan every time I've met with you since I was elected. So I'm really excited about it. I just want to do get it right the first time and make it clear there. I think the committee especially is going to be really important. It was great to have a mayor of another city here and say, man, you give 5 minutes? We do really value public input here in the city of Newark, and it's good to see that spoken about by representatives from other cities. So if for folks who came by today, you would have noticed that there's some new, furniture out in front of City Hall. That's the ballot drop box. You can drop off your ballot at any time. Or you can be like me. I was going to tell that story as I dropped off my ballot before the meeting today, but then I forgot my ballot. So there are other options. I could put it in the mail tomorrow. I could stop by tomorrow. So just no matter how you're going to vote, make sure to make your voice heard. That's how decisions are better. And City Manager, I do have a question for you. So about 3 months ago, there was a disruption of services from Republic Services for about 2 weeks. At that time, you'd indicated maybe there were some early stages of communications about potential bill credit for Newark residents. Has there been any motion on that, or kind of what's going on there?
Yes, our Environmental Services Division within our Public Works Department has been actively negotiating with Republic Services. The proposed deal that we're finalizing would be some sort of service credit to all residential accounts in the city of Newark for the 2-week period where there was a service disruption. And some households experienced disruption for the total 2 weeks, some did not, but the credit would apply to all residential accounts, regardless of their actual disruption levels. We are finalizing that agreement, and we hope to have that deal completed sometime next month. If the council needs to take any action, that would potentially occur as early as November 13th. And we're looking forward to reaching resolution on this. It's been going on for quite some time.
Yeah, it's good to hear that we're approaching a finish line on being able to get that bill credit there.
Mm-hmm. Councilmember Jorgens. I'm sorry, Grindal.
I can talk some more.
Councilmember Grindal.
Yes, in case there's anybody still watching, although it's been reported that Trump has called off his federal intervention in San Francisco, he still may be planning something in the East Bay. The camp they're constructing in Alameda Island is certainly a strong indication of that. All people in the United States have constitutional rights against illegal search and seizure. If you experience or see an abuse of constitutional rights, you can contact the Alameda County Immigration Legal Education Partnership at 510-241-4011. Don't call them because you want information on what to do, so on and so forth. This number is just for people who are in a crisis situation and that you're either witnessing someone's rights being abused or you having that happen to yourself. So again, this number is to help people in that particular dire circumstance. So I just wanted to bring that attention. We already heard a little bit about that this morning, but just wanted to bring that forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Grindal. Vice Mayor Little.
So we've been here 6 hours today, so I wanted to say a huge thank you to all the staff members that are still here with us. I want to tell you guys a big thank you. People can't see it if they're still online. But I want to tell all of you guys, thank you for all the prep work that you've done. Thank you for all the work that you've put together and things, and I really do appreciate all the hard work from everybody. Also, speaking of the flavors of Newark, tonight for dinner we had Himalayan chef, and for those that don't know, that's Nepalese food. So if we're looking at trying, I know a lot of people mentioned to me today, I can see Captain over there, and now you guys both happy for spicy food and stuff like that. So just a shout out, thank you Himalayan chef for their good Nepalese food, and that's a great place to check out right next to Oasis. Last but not least, I mentioned this earlier today, I'm gonna mention it again, scouting for food is super duper important. We brought in about 20 to 25% of the total inventory for Viola Blythe in one day. That is a ridiculous amount. So just keep your eyes open for it. Hopefully the city can help us advertise it. If not, we can figure out something. But it is very important to bring in food. It's very, very important for us to collect stuff because this food doesn't go to Alameda County. It doesn't go to Oakland. It's not, it stays here in Newark directly with Viola Blythe. So I love what you said. We'll do our 5,000 head count to a 5,000 item count to maybe 6,000 item count. If you don't get a flyer on your door, that means we don't have enough volunteers zoned to come pick it up. You can drop it off once again at First Presbyterian Church of Newark the third Saturday of November. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I want to take a couple of announcements. Once, I want to recognize that this is Cancer Awareness Month, specifically breast cancer awareness. There are an estimated 316,950 women and 2,800 men who are expected to be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer in 2025. About 1 in 8 women will develop invasive breast cancer in her lifetime. An estimated 42,170 women and 510 men will die from breast cancer in 2025. It's the second most common cancer. So I wear the pink tie today in recognition of cancer awareness and specifically breast cancer awareness. So to those that are suffering through cancer and those that have lost family members through cancer, certainly know this council grieves with you. They did a recent study of California towns that ranked among the best small cities in America. They surveyed 1,300 U.S. cities with populations between 25,000 and 100,000 based on 45 key indicators of livability. Dozens of California cities made the list, with 54 ranking in the 70th percentile. So what does Newark have in common with San Juan Capistrano, Mission Viejo, Foster City? We ranked higher than those communities. We ranked at the 75 percentile, so congratulations to the city of Newark for being recognized as one of those cities. Lastly, 2 things left. Happy Diwali. We celebrated on the 20th. Happy Diwali to all of our friends. It's a significant part of our community. We had a representative speak tonight during the public comment. You know, love over hate, kindness, it's the things that we stand for in our community. I know that there's a lot of fear in our community. I recognize that, as Mr. Grindal mentioned and others have mentioned tonight. And I know that there were some folks mentioning, we want our police department not to participate and remain active with ICE and raids and things of that nature. I do want to remind our community that our state legislature adopted SB 54, known as the Values Act. Under the Values Act, the city of Newark, as well as all law enforcement agencies in the state, are prohibited from engaging in nearly all immigration-related activities. And we've taken it a step further in the city of Newark, where we adopted Policy 428, which states, in essence, that the department aligns itself with the Values Act and specifically provides that officers shall not inquire into an individual's immigration status for immigration and enforcement purposes. The reason we want our residents to report crime and to stay active with our police department is because we want them to know they do so knowing that the information as to their immigration status is not important to us. What's important to us is making sure our residents feel safe and our community is kept safe. So our police department has adopted that policy. They believe in that policy, and we will continue to emphasize that policy as we move forward. So with that being said, we adjourn just before 11 o'clock as I predicted.